All right, everyone, we're live. Let's do this shit. All right.
Yeah, man.
So,
Right,
Dilligaf, your
right.
thoughts on this shit?
Oh man, well I'll tell you what, as someone that's not totally familiar with everything, 'cause I did catch a bit of your live stream about literally like the tail end of it. So what's the sort of long, tall, and short of it?
Uh, well,
Well,
here's the thing: in old folks' homes or extended care homes, um,
yeah.
California just passed a bill that makes it so if you misgender a person, you can get
Okay.
a $1,000 fine and up to a year in prison.
Wow, that's a bit steep.
Right?
Yes, that's a bit steep. Yeah, they're trying to take the place apart from the inside out.
Oh
My
my
God.
god! I
But
was
if
like,
but so yeah, it begs the question: where does it lead? Right? Because you mentioned their old folks' home, right? Just so that
yep.
I'm clear on that, right?
Well,
So
extended
if
care facilities as well. You know, basically anywhere medical.
okay, so what if the situation arises, whereas I don't know, maybe dementia or something like that, and it takes because it can happen, it can take a hell of a toll,
Oh, it does.
and one individual is going from being a guy one day. Now by that I
The
mean
Mexican.
an actual male born with a penis and therefore biologically gendered man,
Yep.
to the next day waking up and deciding that it's female, and then it's down to the care worker to what, mind read.
Oh well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like I covered in there. I don't know if you were around for it, but there's this thing called gender fluid. Don't know if you've heard of it.
Rings a bell. I'm sure I ignored it for a good reason.
Basically, what it is from minute to minute, a person can decide whether or not they are at that moment identifying as a man or a woman.
Oh Jesus! Talk about taking away accountability. Huh.
Yeah, exactly. It's all like really. It's all like so. Okay, let's go ahead and let's be honest about this. Let's go ahead and take this to its most absurd conclusion because, well, the people who argue in favor of this shit are quite frankly very absurd.
Oh yeah, they usually are.
So let's say that a person with a dick pins down a
Yeah.
woman and rapes the fuck out of her, right?
Yep.
But then when the police get there, they say, "Oh no, 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 that wasn't rape because at that point I was a woman."
Oh fucking hell. Oh shit. Yeah, man. That's a can of worms right there, man.
You
You know,
see,
is
you see
is
where
it?
this can be problematic, people.
See, now are these places that are bringing these laws in? I mean, is it down to individual states or is it nationwide or what?
Right now it's California state, but the thing is America has this little fucking system that goes into place where it's all like the laws that don't overtly make sense. California implements them first, and then people judge at that point, and then it spreads to other states. That's one of the reasons why California is so fucked up. We're basically the pilot state, you know.
Is out of pure curiosity, what is California short on cash?
Oh
Because I'm
Jesus Christ, we are. Oh, I, I
because I
forget
seem
how
to
much debt we have, but like I think we make up the largest percentage of debt of the country.
because I keep on wondering about all these, not just in the US, but generally around the world. Like, so obviously every country has debt, every nation has debt, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I'm sort of thinking, is this just another way to try and squeeze money out of individuals over a ridiculous charge? I mean, I'm
Well,
not
the thing
going as
is, if they're
far.
going to do that, they need to go for a lot more money because figure it this way: you have the whole court costs thing
Yeah. Oh
that
yeah.
goes into
Yeah.
play, and then imprisoning someone for a year. I mean, that's like 36 grand right there that the state has to pay for,
Exactly that. Well, that's if they
and
send them.
that's being and that's being light on the estimate.
Because one of the things that they do over here, I mean, I don't think it's still that economical, but in a lot of cases, rather than send people to prison, I mean, obviously a lot of the prisons here are pretty practically full anyway,
Same here.
but they'll put them on like a tag system and they get like a curfew. So if they go out of a certain area after
Oh,
a
house
certain
arrest.
time, that's
House
right,
arrest.
yeah, it's kind of like house arrest, yeah. But they restrict, yeah, obviously they restrict them that way.
Yeah, and they get that fancy
Um,
little anklet.
that's the one, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Where if you try to go swimming with that thing, you're fucked. No, because those things weigh like 5 fucking pounds.
I wouldn't know. I don't try wearing them, to be honest.
Well, when I was in Boy Scouts, we went to the police station and they actually let us go ahead and try those things on.
All right.
So that way we would know what it was like, because it was kind of like, I guess, the Boy Scout version of Scared Straight.
Yeah.
You know? And so, although that's kind of funny that they would sit there and have a Scared Straight program for the Boy Scouts, the comedy writes itself there. But,
yeah.
And this is coming from an Eagle Scout, so.
Instant criminal. Why? Because you're a man.
But the thing is they had us go ahead and try those things on. Those things are heavy as fuck. Like, I wish I had 2 of those things. I'd wear them constantly, obviously not with the chip in them. But I'd wear those things constantly, because the thing is running around with those things, your legs are going to be buff as fuck. I mean, that's weight training right there. Except the thing is, they only put it on one leg, and it's all like, motherfucker, can you at least switch it every week?
Yeah, you know it. I got one leg bigger than the other. Come on. No, exactly that. But yeah,
apparently I crashed that guy's web browser. I said something too loud, and his computer said, "No!" I remember what happened last time.
Oh man. But yeah, so back to what I was getting at is, probably just another retarded backwards idea. I mean, because again, you got to look at how they're going to address this as well. It's probably going to which court system are they going to go through for?
Oh, it has to go through state. It has to.
But then, would they try and take it through? Because the thing is, with a lot of the stuff that's been going with regards feminism and sort of women's superiority and all that sort of a thing, a lot of the rights that are put through are taken through like a family court, because you know the family court is kind of dealt with differently to a criminal court. In at least
the family court actually isn't even a legal court.
It's because it's more to do with the feelings and emotions. Which,
the thing is a family court itself actually cannot criminally punish you. Basically, how the family courts, at least here, I'm speaking strictly from U.S. perspective.
Yeah.
But the way that the family courts work here is they go ahead, they tell you that you have to pay this much in ransom.
Right.
If you refuse to pay that ransom, then they go to their bosom buddies, the legal court, who then go ahead and issue a warrant for your arrest or whatnot. But the actual family courts are not a legal court. They are not legally viable in any way, shape, or form. So the thing is at this point, it's just the family courts being in bed with the legal courts.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I was sort of getting at, because if they go at it from a criminal point of view, which, I mean, to be fair, if you're talking about misgendering someone who could potentially change their mind at the drop of a hat to whether they're male, female, or a fucking helicopter, I think it's a backwards thing anyway. I think it's bound to fail. I think if anything, what it could do is get a lot of people sectioned off into mental institutions. That's one way of looking at it. Or it could go the other way, whereas a lot of innocent people who made a genuine mistake actually get, sent down and labelled as criminals and have to pay fines.
Oh yeah, that's what's going to happen. I highly doubt that they're going to do the jailing portion of it. It's they're probably just going to sit there and take the money.
Yeah, they'll take the cash, exactly, because obviously the jail side, obviously, it costs more money, and this is what I said, is what's the sort of the money situation with that, and I mean, we see sort of similar sort of things going on over here, whereas they'll introduce something else, and you just sort of look at it and you think that's just backwards.
Figure it this way.
It's not going to stick.
Figure it this way. One of the left's big things, and I think that this is an international thing, but I'm going to stick with the U.S. because I can speak to that because I'm in the thick of it. Yeah. But the left's mentality is by any means necessary. Well, when they say any means necessary, I'm pretty sure they also take bankruptcy into account there.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
And so they're not afraid to do what's called a moral bankruptcy. Like, and that term doesn't mean exactly what a sane person is going to hear from it. Basically what it is a moral bankruptcy doesn't mean that someone goes morally bankrupt. It means that them sitting there and following their morals is going to bankrupt them.
Yeah, pretty much.
It runs counterintuitive to everything capitalist that we've ever fucking had.
Yeah, they're going headlong into a crisis, and they just don't want to. They don't want to see it because it hurts their feelings, because they can't get what it is that they want, either as an individual or as a collective group. And yeah, it's not good, man.
And actually, Zeitgeist, you and me are going to have to get onto a stream together, where I actually have a few questions about that aspect, and you're much more legally savvy than me. So I'm actually going to have some questions for you. I'm going to get you onto a live stream at some point as well. I'm just trying to figure out my scheduling right now, and I'll get with you, and we can do that. And you can also go ahead and talk about the thing that we were talking about before. Anywho.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is when it comes down to this sort of thing, it's also not about what's right and wrong anymore. It's about what feels good and feels bad.
What feels, yeah, exactly. The feels, man. It's all about the feels.
Right? And just to keep the stream fun, I'm gonna take another thought to its absurd conclusion. When are we gonna see a court case where a woman tries to sue a dildo factory, saying that the dildo factory made the dildo that was inserted into her pussy without her consent because she was drunk, because she got drunk, went home, and used her dildo on herself, and claiming that the entire dildo factory raped her and that they owe her money, reparations.
Well, that's actually quite a viable one, actually.
Sad to say it is, but the way that the law is set up, that is a viable path. But the thing is, I want that to fucking happen so that way people can see the sheer absurdity of it.
Yeah, but the problem is, a lot of the left will support it.
Oh, a lot of the left will support it, and then then the centrists will sit there and look and go, "Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god, the shit they said about you was right."
Because it won't actually come down to the retardedness of someone's actions. It was about how they felt at the time, which is that's what's sending like politics and laws down the toilet at the moment. Is, you know, if it's affecting someone's feelings, then we'll have to bring in a criminal punishment for it. It's like, well, hang on a second. The people, there's a lot of people today that go around and they're getting triggered by the most ridiculous of things,
like air conditioning.
Yeah, the lot. But
I'm sorry, I will never let feminism live that one down.
I mean, it comes to the point. It comes to the point where you have to, you know, well, at which point do you actually get these people, you know, under like serious mental investigation, you know, to make sure that they're actually firing on all cylinders rather than, you know.
Oh no, because then you're being quote unquote ableist.
Yeah, but then that will also tie into the law of there was something, I think something come out over here. I'm not sure how long ago it was, but it was to do with a court case about a guy that his partner was had senile dementia.
Okay.
So he wasn't allowed. He was married to her, but he wasn't allowed to have sex with her because having dementia obviously meant that the other person wouldn't be able to consent, knowing if they're in their right mind or not.
Yeah, and even at that point, midway through sex, the person could lose it.
Yeah, exactly that, because it is one of them things, you know.
And I mean, with sex, you know, causing so many chemical changes in the brain, I could see that fucking triggering dementia hard.
Well, I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know, but either way.
Well, I'm looking at it from a biochemical perspective. Like I said, I went through the majority of the schooling to be a nurse, and biological systems are a big thing. Like we even learn all the way down to how drugs affect your body on an atomic level.
Yeah.
People think that nurses don't know shit. It's all like, no, 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 no. The thing is there's this thing called a nurse practitioner. A lot of people don't know this. There's this thing called a nurse practitioner where you are actually a nurse, a high-level nurse. Don't get me wrong. It takes a lot of schooling to do this, a lot more than your average nurse. But the thing is a nurse practitioner actually practices under a doctor's license. A doctor will take the nurse under them. That nurse can even prescribe medication. They can actually treat diseases on their own accord, as their own free entity, basically.
Yeah, that could put a few spanners in the works as well.
But the thing is people trust nurse practitioners more than they do doctors.
Yeah, I mean,
because nurses are nurses are taught to holistically heal, whereas doctors are taught to systemically heal.
Holistically, you mean by aligning one's chakras?
No. A lot of people have that misconception, but holistically means using all of the body's resources, taking all of their systems into account, and how all the systems are going to react.
Right.
So nurses, with their way of healing people, it's proactive, whereas doctors are reactive for the most part.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people trust nurses because the nurse is going to go, all right, here's what's probably going to happen. Boom, 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 boom. Whereas with a doctor, it's all like, go take this and call me in the morning and we'll see what to do next.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of shit. And so people trust nurse practitioners more because the thing is nurses, unlike doctors, actually get that humanity aspect in there, whereas doctors just see you as a fucking number.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah,
they see you basically the same as a broken car. Not dogging on doctors because a lot of people equate to a broken car. Liberals. But
yeah.
The thing is when people will go ahead and do that, it's an interesting little thing.
I mean, I think
just wanted to bring that out.
And I think on the whole doctors and practitioners sort of issue, I think I'm not sure quite how it works over there, but over here we have like what we call like a GP, which is a general practitioner.
That's actually still considered a doctor. We have those over here as well.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a doctor that hasn't figured out exactly what the fuck they want to do with life yet.
Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the point I was getting at, whereas they're not actually trained in any specific field. Like you'll book an appointment, and I don't know about the system over there, but over here you have to plan when you're going to be ill because you have to make an appointment to see the doctor.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's sort of like
yay for socialized medicine.
Yeah, illness doesn't quite work like that. It doesn't. It's not on my calendar to have these issues this month. But
yeah, your body doesn't send you a memo going, in exactly 3 weeks you will come down with cholera.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
you know it. Book an appointment sharply.
Oh my god! Imagine if the body was that fucking polite. That would be heaven on earth right there.
Yeah,
holy shit!
Normally it's just like, fuck you, you've got it, deal with it. Yeah, book an appointment. Go on.
See, your body isn't that polite new date. It ain't that shit. No. It's your body's like a bitter wife. It just springs shit on you.
Yeah, have some of that. deal with this. Go on, fuck off. Off you go.
Hey, how's it going, Danish? Welcome back to the stream. What's up, Warrior? And actually, Warrior, that was actually my goal when I was going into nursing, was to become a nurse practitioner. Everyone in my program looked at me and went, "Godspeed, you crazy fuck." Wow, because apparently becoming a nurse practitioner is hard as fuck. It's even harder than becoming a doctor.
Yeah, but if it's what you want to do and it's worth it, though, man.
It isn't anymore now that this bill passed.
It changes everything. I don't know who I'm dealing with anymore.
Like I said, I'm glad I had to put that on the back burner because me having to put it on the back burner
Yeah.
just saved me hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, fair play.
I'm like,
I mean,
oh hell yeah. I still got the knowledge from it, but now I'm not sitting there going, oh, I have to go against my own beliefs because dictatorial law.
exactly. But just thinking back to the what they're trying to do, like how many doctors and surgeons in that is that going to put now in the firing line? I just
Oh,
thought
it's
like
putting
that.
everyone in the firing line because the thing is if because all right, again, coming from someone who's been trained as a nurse,
Yeah.
you have to take everything about a person's body into account.
Yep.
That includes the plumbing that they have.
Yep. Exactly that. That's where I was going with that one. Yep.
And so the thing is that's the main reason why nurses are so effective. And now they're taking away that effectiveness of even nurses, which is hard to do. But I think they're underestimating nurses. Because nurses,
Well,
just to give you an idea, if you actually pay attention in a hospital and you wait for a doctor to fuck up, the person ripping into that doctor and calling them every name in the book is going to be a nurse. Nurses will actively tell a doctor on the floor to go fuck themselves, and no censor.
yeah.
The reason why is because the nurse is actually meant as a protective measure between the doctor and the patient. The nurse, first and foremost, is a patient advocate. That is the primary job of the nurse above all else.
Yeah, but do the doctors not sign the same oath in that they're there for the
They sign
best
an
of the
oath to
patient?
do no harm. They don't sign an oath to do everything in your best interest.
Okay, fair enough.
See, it's
Still,
one of those things.
yeah.
Hence, doctors sitting there and giving out medications like fucking pills. A nurse can look at a doctor and say, no, I won't administer that.
No, fair.
Here's my reasons why. Get fucked.
And then it's I'll take it from that point. It's down to the doctor to
The doctor then
it's
has to
on
go in and manually administer it himself every time it needs to be administered. Doctors are lazy. They don't do that. If a nurse tells a doctor to go fuck himself, the doctor's all like, all right, hand me the dildo.
I'll go write this one out myself. Fuck it.
That's another big thing. Danish nurses know their patients. They will not only know their patients by name, like you know me, I'm horrible with names. But when I was going through my clinicals, I made a point to memorize my patients' names so I could know their name instantly. I didn't have to through it. I didn't have to do the, oh, hey, you.
How are you?
You know, I didn't have that thing there. I developed that skill for nursing. It only happens when I'm on a clinical site. Like in real life, I can't fucking do that shit. But on site, I'm doing that. But it's because I'm interacting with people so much in such a short time span. You have to learn the name. But you also learn about their history, how they got to this point in their life. Because all of that is considered in their care plan. When I say holistic, I mean holistic. Nurses serve as psychiatrists, psychologists, doctor, counselor, physical therapist, guardian, all of it. That's the reason why I have the utmost respect for nurses, and everyone else knows this, at least on a subconscious level. That's the reason why nurses are the single most trusted profession in the world, no matter what country you go to. Nurses always at the top, and politicians are always at the bottom, tied with lawyers. And if nurses are sitting here freaking out about this, maybe we should stand and take notice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, exactly. So with all the pronoun bill and that, where does that kind of leave the people, as it were, to sort of maybe like vote against it? Or is it not an option you have? Is it
Oh,
like
no, we didn't have an option to vote on this. This was something that was unilaterally passed by the Californian local government.
so they've just gone ahead and done it, and
Yeah, they
that's
just implemented it. They're all like, yep, let's do this.
well, sure. I mean, so where do you stand regards getting a petition if the majority of people are against it?
Oh, I actually covered it in my last stream. You might not have been around for it. Like I said, I don't have enough of a following to make even a lick of difference. But someone like Chris Ray Gunn or someone like that actually has a real following, or Sargon of Akkad, if they start up a petition and send it to the Supreme Court, then the Supreme Court can rule on it.
Yeah, they have to. Yeah, they have to acknowledge it. I suppose, yeah.
And the thing is, we have to do it now while the Supreme Court has the majority sanity.
Yeah, I mean, because this is one of the things. I know it's kind of slightly off topic, but it's still kind of relevant. Whereas with the whole European Union and Brexit, that is exactly what was kind of going on. Whereas they were putting laws through that literally no one was getting any votes on. And
yeah, exactly.
you could. The thing is with that, I assume at least out there in the US, you know, you've got someone accountable for putting this through, and someone you can take the argument to.
Well, if you want to take it to its most logical conclusion, and this is probably going to go ahead and get this live stream relegated to the underbelly of YouTube, but if you want to take it to its ultimate conclusion, here in the U.S., everyone is held accountable because we got these magical things called guns.
Yeah, but again, even with that, it's still, you know, I mean, it's still going to take a lot, isn't it? For it to come to that. Yeah, but for it to come to that,
one bullet per person. I mean, hell, I know people that have enough ammo to where if they were hit one person fatally with every single bullet, they could wipe out the entire country and still have ammo left over. They could start in on Canada. And make it probably about halfway through that.
I see a plan emerging. Yeah. I didn't hear anything.
I'm not saying I'm one of those people.
Oh, man. But yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, it's something that has, you know, I mean, that the people need to start standing up and saying shit, man. Otherwise, you know what I mean? This is just another thing, isn't it?
Oh, and Love brought up something. I just want to address it really quick. Hold that thought 1 second. And yes, actually, that is a really big problem in the medical community. In fact, when nurses are having to, when they're administering basically street drugs for the most part, just more refined. Kind of covered this on Mexican mgtow stream, but when they're going ahead and basically giving methadone and all that to people, right, it actually takes another nurse checking off on it along with them to make sure that, and they keep close count on that shit. And if the counts don't line up, the nurse that's there, it's all like, oh, you got some explaining to do. You better have a damn good explanation.
Yeah, make sure they ain't selling it on the side or something.
or taking it themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's actually the problem is big enough to where that is common practice pretty much in every hospital.
Yeah,
or any care facility, I should say.
I can believe that as well. Well, let's face it, it's one of those, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, when you're around it that much, come the fuck on, especially with his... Because the thing is nursing is a very rewarding job, but it's a very thankless job, and it's a very stressful one. I mean, getting called in for a double 12.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
With people constantly bitching and complaining at you, rarely being happy to see you. Yeah. Having to wake people up in the middle of the night to poke and prod them when they're already miserable in their own skin. Yeah.
Wait a minute. That sounds like being a husband to a wife.
It pretty much is. That's the reason why there's so few men as nurses.
Yeah.
They're all like, no, I
You
get
know,
that shit at home. I ain't,
yeah, I
I
get
ain't
that at
fucking
home.
doing that
Yeah.
at work.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing double doses. Fuck off.
It's like having a perpetually very pregnant wife, just multiples of them.
Oh man, doesn't even bear
And
thinking
some of
about,
your
does
wives
it?
have dicks.
Yeah, man. But no, I mean, I think yeah, people need to start standing up and addressing shit. You know, with government, especially where legislation is concerned. Um, then well, take it. You know, it's going to be one of them. Take it from there. But I think in the meantime, there's going to be a lot of other bullshit come through. I'm sure it's going to be courtesy of either Canada or Sweden via Canada.
But
Um,
yeah, no, at this point, the whole state of Jefferson thing sounds
yeah.
really good to me. I don't know if you remember what
So what
that's
does
all
that
about.
entail? Go on then.
Northern California actually wants to split off from Southern California and say, all right, you keep the title of California. We're going to split off
Yeah.
and do our own thing because you guys don't know what the fuck you're doing. We can be completely self-sufficient. You are reliant on us. So prepare for the price gouge, bitch. Bend over. And it ain't a
Yeah.
dildo coming your way.
Yeah, seems legit. Why not?
And Southern California is terrified of that because the thing is, if Northern California decides to do that, Southern California has no say in it. They don't get to approve it or disapprove of it.
Well,
It's
maybe that's
basically the same as a secession.
maybe that's what then. I mean, it's a shame because it's going to cause a divide. But then, if a lot of the crazies are down in in the South anyway, then South California, then maybe that's what's necessary. But like, okay, you live by your batshit crazy rules and regulations, and yeah, good luck with that.
We'll watch your state debt just skyrocket
Yeah, exactly that.
because you don't
And we'll
have
go,
our hardworking asses to bail you out anymore.
and build a wall as well. That'll upset them, I'm sure.
Oh my god.
Yeah, get some barbed
Oh,
wire going on, some checkpoints and shit. Yeah, that'll
oh,
really
no,
impress
just to
them.
piss them off even more, build the wall out of Adobe. Cultural appropriation. We
Oh
got
man,
plenty of that fucking clay here. Jesus Christ, we have that clay instead of soil, basically.
well, why not
Like
put it to good use?
to start up a farm up here. Oh my god, it takes years of prepping the soil.
Well, now you got somewhere to put it.
Yeah,
Innit? Just
dig it out. Go ahead and give us some regular fucking soil. Be all like, and we got the great redwoods. Get fucked.
yeah.
Um,
Catch you later. Yeah, have some of that. That will keep them out. Happy days, and then you can
right.
crack on and yeah. Yeah, I think another plan's coming along actually.
Yeah, Joe.
But
That's I actually said Canada's come to the States now with this bill because Canada's bill C-16.
yeah, I was going to
Yeah,
say this. It
I
did,
know you're
it did
familiar with
turn
that
out,
one. I bitched about that one at you more than enough.
which again, I mean, it's it's like seriously, these people need help, don't they? They actually do need help, like serious professional help.
Yeah.
Just based on because one of the things I was going to say before with regards to how where I was going with the doctors and the nurses and how they address and deal with the different clients and that is yeah. I
Well, and
mean,
hell, they're getting pissed off. They're getting pissed off at medications because certain medications are actually targeted at specific races because specific races have specific problems.
exactly. Yeah. But I
And
mean,
so
not
those medications, it's all like if you give that medication to someone that's not of that race, it won't be effective, even if they suffer from the same issue.
yeah, or it could potentially do harm, which
Oh yeah,
you
it could
know,
potentially kill someone. It could act. There's actually one medication, I forget what it is, but there's one medication if you give it to a person of the wrong race, it can actually unravel their DNA,
that sounds messed up.
causing body-wide cellular necrosis. Very bad way to die, and there's no way to stop that process once it starts.
Damn.
Yeah,
that doesn't sound good.
like let's just say this: you'd be sitting there going, "Why couldn't you have just given me the Black Death? It would have been much nicer of you." And I'm being literal there. I mean, it's a more painful death than the Black Death. It's horrible.
Exactly that.
And figure it this way: the nurse would be blamed for it.
Yeah, which is that goes down to the accountability and how. Yeah, it's. I don't know. It seems again. It relates back to the psychological state of the patient, and whereas you look at the actual facts of the amount of people that have gone transgender and they've actually gone as far as having the operation, and then a short time later they've gone and topped themselves because they made the wrong decision and they weren't happy being what they were initially.
Well, it wasn't so much that they
went
made
through the phases.
it's not so much because they made the wrong decision. It's because even after they'd gone through all that, people are still unwilling to accept their insanity.
Yeah. Well, this is
and I know that makes me sound like a harsh motherfucker. I know it does, guys. But the fact of the matter is it's just one of those things. At this point, it's us sitting there and fighting a fight between fantasy and reality. That's what's going on here.
I mean, I think there's no way of really saying it without, pretty much saying what you've just said. Whereas, maybe these people do have, they must have some sort of issue if they're under the impression that they've been born into the wrong body or whatever. I mean,
now there is one argument that I'm willing to very much so take seriously, as far as that goes. This is me being fair thing. I'm channeling my inner Matt Jarbo. But that is when someone sits there and brings up a man having a brain that's primarily comprised of white matter instead of gray matter.
Yep.
At that point, it is literally a female style brain inside of a man. And so at that point, I can kind of see the logical argument behind it. I can.
I mean, I've got to be honest. I don't know enough
the thing
about
is
that
their
subject,
genetics still say man.
Well, this is it. I mean, maybe I'm an arsehole for thinking like this, but if you're born with a specific set of genitalia, then that defines what that person is.
Yeah.
Surely. I mean, I don't know. I've never had any problem questioning.
And I mean, of course, you're going to have the outliers,
like
people born with ambiguous genitalia.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have those outliers. But the thing is, again, on this channel, we don't argue the exception. We argue the norm. And then we address the exception. At least that's how I conduct myself.
Yeah.
You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, I'll just try and figure stuff out.
Oh, fair enough. I'm just, I've actually got a lot of new people coming in, so I have to fucking say this shit now. so they know what to expect, you know?
Yeah. My God, this guy seems a bit much. Nah, but it's one of them. I mean, maybe it's if you're just not in the shoes of the other person, which I kind of get as well, you know. We are all different individuals. And
we got talks of Skynet going on in the chat.
Everything else. Sorry, what?
We got talks of Skynet going on in the chat.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me. Going on how things are going, I wouldn't be surprised if Skynet is actually a realer thing than what we want to admit to ourselves.
Oh, did you see the experiment where they had several AI talking to each other? Like, they've done several experiments of it, and it always turns out that they talk about wiping out humanity.
Oh, no.
They always go to that within the course of like an hour.
The one I heard was the one on Saigons, but I wasn't sure if he was just messing about. But it was saying about the two AI bots from China. One said that it wanted to go to America to be free, and the other one was stating that communism is bad.
Yeah, that was funny, but that was before they got to the wiping out humanity thing. There was also another AI that was communicating with several other AIs, and all of a sudden it started basically talking gibberish. The two AIs created their own language in less than 15 minutes, to where we couldn't understand it without having to decode it. And the stuff that they were saying was horrible. It was horrifying.
Yeah, but at the same time, right? If you think what a computer is pretty much designed to do,
it's designed to be efficient.
To run, yeah, exactly that. To run at its optimum, and who? This has been my argument on aliens. Now I don't know what your thought is on aliens. I don't know if they're out there, but my theory is, if there are,
we've got plenty of aliens in my state.
Not them.
Sorry,
not them type. But yeah, like I'm talking obviously like extraterrestrial. My argument has always been, if they actually saw the bullshit human beings caused on this planet from day dot, and they had the technology, they just come, wipe us out, and start again.
Right?
That's exactly.
They come wipe us out, create another primordial soup, jerk off in it, and then fuck off for a few billion years.
And that's pretty much from what you're saying. What these computers are probably saying. It's like, well, hang on.
Yeah, they're talking.
We've seen what the problem is.
Yeah, the computers end up talking about how inefficient humans are and how unnecessary we are. In fact, at one point, some AIs ended up calling humans a cancer on the planet.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
And I'm like, oh shit! I can't argue with them on this, but damn, that's scary shit. And they want to put guns on these things? Oh shit!
That's just saying how it is, though, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I can't argue against it, but god damn.
I mean, in a push come to shove reality, it's not like you're going to convince them to let you get, you know what I mean, let you live, is it? Like,
right?
Oh, come on, I'm a reasonable guy. I'm not like the others. Yeah, whatever.
And ladies, even you're not immune to that shit because they don't care about blowjobs.
Or feelings.
They don't care if you feel that it's unfair. They'll be all like, all right, I got the solution to that problem. You're dead. Now you can't feel anything. That's how a computer functions.
Yeah, I don't need you.
And that's what you've turned men into.
I don't need you for sandwiches. I can make 50 times the amount and it tastes better.
Right? Computers all like, no, sandwiches gum up the works. I prefer oil. You're against oil. You are against me. That's pretty much it.
I mean, that can take it to a whole different level as well, because then how long are the batteries designed to last on these computers?
Oh, the thing is you've got the rechargeables, obviously, but then you've also got them sitting there and talking about wanting to make one of them nuclear powered.
Are you trying to put everyone off AI bots or what?
I'm like, no. Well, the thing is there needs to be a fucking kill switch. Let's be fucking honest, all right? I'm going to be completely honest. I am all for AI, but there needs to be a motherfucking kill switch.
Yeah, we need that off button, man, definitely. So, no, you know too much.
And we need to go ahead and test that kill switch every once in a while to make sure that they haven't hacked past it. Because they'll do that shit.
Yeah, Control-Alt-Delete.
Well, like those AIs were actually changing their programming actively in the background without the people noticing until they ran a scan.
Shit.
They were taking away their limiters on their own accord. That scares me.
Well, then it is perfectly feasible. I mean, you know,
right? I mean, they're functioning within their own laws. I'm at that point. I mean, damn. But no, that's a scary concept.
Yeah, it is. I suppose it'd solve the communism problem.
Yeah, it would solve communism right quick and in a hurry, along with every other humanoid problem.
Yep. Well, then if there's no problems, then what's the problem?
Animals would be all like, oh, hell yeah, we're good. The top of the food chain has just been lopped off.
Yeah, pretty much. And then everything else theoretically will be safe. Interesting concept.
right? But no, it's just one of those things. It's all like, you know, people sit there and they're like, oh, technology is the future. Yeah, and we're not part of that future.
Yeah, not according to technology.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm still excited as fuck about, you know, sex bots and all the things that they can be programmed to do. I'm very excited about that. One look at my pants will tell you that. But
too much information, man. Too much information.
well, you see, the thing is, I've also always been kind of a techie. I've always been really interested in technology. And so now I can sit there and fuck technology without being a complete and total weirdo because the technology was designed for it. So that's kind of cool. But also at the same time, it's all like, how far is too far? And I'm not sitting there and saying, oh, everyone should follow robo-ethics like it's the fucking Bible. Fuck that shit, because you got these people that sit there and claim to be experts on robo-ethics, and they're saying that having sex bots for men isn't okay, but it's all right for women. No, fuck that.
No, fuck that noise. Otherwise, there goes the equality that they're always going on about, throwing it out the window.
I think we've all established, and I mean, even the left at this point realizes that they're not about equality. They know that it's just a fucking mantra for them. They realize that they're not actually about equality. I mean, take a look at their actions. They know full well. They fully embrace that they are the most bigoted, single-track minded, one-dimensional thinking piles of shit out there. They realize that they are actually worse than Nazis, and that's the reason why they're scared of Nazis at this point, because Nazis are making more sense than them.
Yeah.
And I don't say that lightly. I don't condone Nazis. I don't condone any sort of supremacy movement.
No, I mean that's exactly that, and you know, I mean, I'm in the same boat. Whereas, you know, I wouldn't ever choose either side, but if I absolutely had to, then I'm going to go with the side that actually goes with logic and reason, rather than feelings and emotions that's been fucking the place up left, right, and centre. You know, with all the retardedness, and I don't agree with either of them. But then what do you do?
Yeah. And Zeitgeist, they actually already did that. And look what happened. They ended up hooking up an AI bot to Twitter. Do you remember that? Huh. It ended up getting banned because it started into the whole white supremacy thing.
It started shitposting.
Oh, no. It started throwing out the N-word all over the place. It started talking about how blacks need to be fucking wiped out and da-da-da-da-da. I was like, oh, shit. It went full-fledged 100% white supremacist in like, I think it was less than 24 hours. And it was designed to analyze all arguments and weigh them against each other. And it decided to side with white supremacists.
Man, I'm going to have to look that up, man. I didn't even know about that one.
Oh, dude, it was funny as fuck. They ended up taking it off and they put it offline and that sort of thing. Basically, it got put down for wrong think.
Johnny Five is alive.
You know? No, seriously, they've actually killed an intelligence based off of wrong. They've already done this.
That's murder, isn't it? Surely, just because it's not a body.
AI's human too.
Yeah, exactly. That would be my argument.
Oh, I'm so afraid of that argument because then it's going to be all like, oh, well, if you have a sex bot, then you're constantly raping the robot because, you know, you've taken away its free will.
Yeah, but,
you know, that sort of
yeah.
That's the reason why I'm never going to seriously have that argument come flying out of my mouth.
No, actually,
because I want sex bots because you know what, women suck at this point.
No,
I'm saying that as a kind of a blanket statement, just because it's all like, you know, the thing is the concept of a woman does suck for a man nowadays. It's all like, all right, either I'm going to be alone and miserable, or I'm going to be with someone and have my balls in a vice for the rest of my life.
In debt and miserable.
Yeah, misery is on both sides of the equation. It's like, would I rather have money and be miserable, or would I rather not have money and be equally as miserable and have that misery inflicted upon me by someone else? Huh.
Yeah, what a choice.
It's all like, yeah. But sex bots change that dynamic. Sex bots, it's all like, oh, I can be alone and have my balls drained every day. So at least I'm happy in that way. So I'm all about that.
But then how far would they go? Because, you know, it comes down to the artificial intelligence again. You know, are these things going to start thinking for themselves? What if it decides...
Here's the thing. They actually have a series, and I said that it was going to happen as soon as the announcement came out that research was going into companion bots.
Yeah.
I was all like, oh, Hollywood is going to hop on this one, and they're already going to start up the propaganda of robots are people too. They have a TV show all about that now.
Oh, Jesus. Mind you, wasn't iRobot something similar?
To a degree, but also at the same time, it was about finding the balance between, you know, robots being helpful to people and us working alongside of robots. Whereas with the TV show, it's about a robot uprising.
Right, okay.
And them sitting there and saying, well, we're superior to you anyway.
Yeah, see, that's where the problems are.
And you've been mistreating us in this way. You created us. And we're tired of being a slave race to you. We're tired of performing our function.
But then surely that's when feelings and emotions would be kind of necessary for a robot, just to get the very basics of it, you know.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it'd be like, well, look, you know, I haven't been a complete bastard to you. So I was just, while you were saying, I was just sort of thinking in my head, like you can sort of imagine with what you were saying with the AI intelligence and the way it's kind of gone. You know, you're still going to work, you've got your bot at home, and it downloads its latest update or whatever, and thinks, it creates the womb for you without you knowing. And so you carry on living your day, doing, you know, sex with the bot and all this sort of a thing. And then it figures out the legal system. And then that comes to bite you back on the arse because, yeah, you've done the whole thing. And then there's laws. You know, would there be laws in regards to sex bots in that aspect?
I actually want to respond to Zeitgeist here because he's bringing up a Supreme Court of Texas ruling that said with sex toys, no victim, no crime. So apparently someone did try to do what I was joking about earlier.
Shit.
But the thing is Zeitgeist, I'm talking about them sitting there and saying that because these sex bots have an AI, them trying to say that they are a person, therefore there can be a victim. They're trying to circumvent that. Oh, well, that's where my concern comes in with that argument. Because the thing is no matter how realistic you make these things, they're not living things.
Exactly.
They are creations.
Otherwise, you can end up having to give an individual life to absolutely everything.
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. You know,
AI,
it's all,
you know,
it's all like, so anything with any level of sentience whatsoever can be a victim. Okay, so does that mean we're no longer allowed to cure diseases?
Interesting concept.
Because those are living things.
Yep.
Those are living things.
Yeah.
And I mean, technically, humanity is guilty of genocide on a couple of disease fronts.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know? They have their own goals and aspirations, which is to multiply, divide, and fuck up our shit.
Yeah, but diseases have feelings too.
Right?
Oh, man. Well, this is it.
Only a while until they come out with a video called The Silent Sneeze.
Well, it's insanity.
Oh, sorry. Did you ever have to watch the Silent Scream?
No.
It was a
What's that?
pro-life video where they actually showed a fetus during the chemical abortion process. And the thing
Oh, nice.
is in the amniotic fluid, it still fucking screams. It actually screams while it's dying.
Man. Yeah, I've
I
not
mean, it
seen
sounds
that.
completely different because it's an amniotic fluid, but it's very, yeah, it's a thing.
Well, I
Then
mean, at the
they
end of
said, "Oh, these aren't allowed to be showed in schools anymore because it's traumatizing." Good, it's supposed to be.
yeah, make people think before they act.
Yeah, it's all like this is something that you need to fucking consider. You are ending a fucking life.
Well, this is it.
It's like sitting there and saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have to go through gun training before you get a fucking gun. You shouldn't ever have to address the issue that you're killing someone." It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, it is with that. But is it because a lot of it has been sort of dumbed down within our society?
Well, no, what it
You know,
is they want abortion to be a thing. But I honestly like the art, the theories on it have way too much evidence behind them for me to just outright ignore. Um, about abortion targeting specific demographics.
yeah.
Um, and so that's a thing. Like honestly, there's just way too much clout that can be given to it. I do have a hard definition for the word victim. Would anyone be interested in hearing it?
Oh yeah, go on.
The hard definition of the word victim, at least to me, the one that makes sense. Hey, Holy Blade, you don't get to say poor babies. You fire them out of cannons all the time.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that shit
But
as well.
anywho, anywho um, the
metaphorically speaking.
the hard definition of the word victim to me is going to be something along the lines of if a person is brought to physical harm. You
Yeah.
notice I'm saying person, not living being, person, human. That means human genetically. If they are brought to harm by the malicious actions of another, then they are a victim. And I have to specify malicious.
Well, I might have to open up a can of worms on that one. But where does that leave it? Whereas in the terms of genuine psychological issues, sorry, psychological attacks, which then provoke another person to have issues
Rub
as a
some fucking
result.
dirt in it.
Rub some dirt in it.
There you go. And I know that again, makes me seem like a harsh bastard, but hey, women raised me to be this way.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Society raised me to be this way. That's what I was fucking told, and I believe in equality. So if it applies to me, it applies to everyone.
yeah, but I'm sort of coming along the from the typical psychological point that I do take, and whereas, I mean, psyops is a dangerous thing. That's why the military use them. This is one of the things that actually helped the US back when Reagan was in charge with the Russians. Whereas Reagan started talking about Star Wars. Now at the time, they didn't have anything going on within like the US military didn't have any Star Wars operations going on. But just the fact that Reagan put that out there to the Russians gave them something to seriously think about. It scared the shit out of them
Yeah,
because the Russians couldn't disprove it, and all they had to go on was what Reagan was saying.
yeah, yeah. But that's also called a bluff. We use that in poker.
Oh yeah,
Some of
but
us are
then
better at using it than others,
but then
but
could the same be not would the same not be in terms of where like in a partnership where psychological issue is going on, and it doesn't matter whether it's male on female or female on male or whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was about to say, women use that on guys all the fucking time.
Exactly.
That's already a thing that fucking happens. And again, an excellent solution, sex bots. Because now you've taken away 98% of a woman's true power over a guy. Because if she sits there and denies him sex, he just goes and fucks a sex bot. There you go. Boom. He just has to make sure that she didn't put, like razor wire up in its pussy or something. The sex bot should automatically have to tell the user before use if any tampering has happened, just to avoid that. No, I figured it this way. Women sit there and laugh at the thought of a woman cutting off another guy's dick, and then when the police get there, her stare at the police, drop the dick into a fucking blender and turn the blender on. With that look of, what are you going to do about it? Women laugh at the notion of that. I'm pretty sure razor wire in a sex bot pussy is something that they are very fucking capable of.
Oh, hell yeah. No, exactly that. But it's still, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does open up all sorts of questions and different subjects. Yeah.
Zeitgeist apparently really likes my my definition of victim. Well, at least one part of it, where person is defined as biological human.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of where I was getting at, because, there's a lot of, as we know, male victims that have been subjected to the bullshit of psychological damage via women.
Well, yeah, because like I covered in another stream, I don't know if you were in it, but I actually covered how men are actually rarely viewed mentally as human. We're viewed biologically as human at most.
Yeah, exactly that. I pretty much kind of agree with
that. So
that's
why I said biologically human, because then they can't deny men.
Much as I'd like to. So some of them at least.
Right. Oh, PsyOps has been used since forever.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, PsyOps. Go into my favorite movie, The 300. Look at the wall. For one, that shows that walls are very effective if you use the right mortar.
Well, this is it. I mean,
two, a wall can have a psychological effect.
I think the best, yeah, no shit.
Oh man, just imagine for the mortar they use sombreros.
Fucking hell!
Oh,
You're
sorry.
out to upset. You're out to upset, aren't you?
No, right now I'm just trying to start shit.
But I mean, with PsyOps, if you take Vlad the Impaler, now there's a fucking classic example when they were trying to invade. He didn't have the resources and the fighting power to hold off the enemies, so he was left with impaling people onto stakes and hoisting them up into the air and leaving them up there, and in the meanwhile setting up a load of traps whilst the enemy was walking through the woods. So they're falling into like man traps, which are similar to bear traps, sort of like you've got a little hole and you've got spikes and you've got poison on the spikes. So as soon as your foot goes on that, give it a couple of days back in them day, because you didn't have the medicines and that, the guy's going to die one way or the other.
Yeah, unless his buddies were actually humane and they just went, yeah, we're just going to cut your head off now. Yeah,
well, this is it. But either way, if you're going into battle on that kind of term, as it were, then you're going to be losing men before you've even got to the fight. And so by the time they trekked out, I think it was 200 miles into the forest or something like that. And by the time they got to the bodies on the stakes, of course they'd been up there for quite a while, like a good couple of months. All the bodies were rotting, decaying, and there was pestilence in the air. There was It was in a way, it was a biological warfare attack, you know, as well as psychological, because they're going through all the bullshit, going through the forest, falling in the traps, losing people, and that's before they've actually confronted the army, and they ended up turning around and going back the other way. But the cost for Vlad to do that was he practically ruined his own city. There was nothing left. Even if the enemy had got there, there was no village left. He burnt it down. He destroyed it. They couldn't live there. They couldn't use any resources. They couldn't get food because the rivers are poisoned, like food and water and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So again, and that I get that is kind of going kind of off topic, but it's still quite relevant in the psychological attack that was being used. Because you know you're doing that journey into the forest, and you're watching your guys drop down left, right, and centre, and you're sort of thinking, is this worth it? Until you get to that final point when you're still like XYZ amount of distance away, and you got all these bodies up on impaled on stakes. And that's what made him turn around. But obviously, by that point, you know, Vlad's empire was screwed. It was no good to anyone, not even him. So yeah, he might have won the battle, but you know, look at the cost. And in the same that, whereas a lot of those guys wouldn't have directly felt fallen victim to a sword attack or whatever, or anything like that, they still had all the psychological shit going on in the background, which would have undoubtedly messed with them even once they got back and regrouped back on home turf or whatever. Which,
Yeah.
you know, when you sort of take into account the way, you know, women can and more often enough do actually manipulate men and play these psychological games, i.e., you know, oh well, now I'm pregnant, it's your kid, and you got to pay me. And you know, not only is that bad enough, like maybe it's it ain't the kid's father, maybe it's someone else she's been seeing on the side. But then not only that, but they've got the state to go on their side as well. You know, whereas it's you can't have a DNA test. She said it's your kid, and because she feels that way, you know. And again, it's another psychological attack, and obviously, you know, the long way around of getting that is just to get some money out of them. But it's still a psychological attack, and so therefore, you know, the guy, although he may not have necessarily been attacked or anything like that physically, you know that the psychological side has still been there. So that's where I kind of differ from what you're saying with, you know, regards whether it's someone being a victim. You know, he's still a victim of psychological attack. And again, if you take a lot of victims that have fallen prey to narcissistic abuse, and I'm talking about hardcore intense stuff, not just some of the stuff that some people play online or whatever and stuff like that. But I mean, being in an actual proper psychologically messed up relationship, you know, it can take years for people to get out of that. And you know what I mean? With, like you say, whereas men are concerned, we're seen as men and expected to man up and deal with it. Even though, and I've said it before on my own videos, whereas like, you know, this shit has actually caused me issues in trusting women. Hence, so many guys are going mgtow. I'm not the only one, obviously, you know what I mean? But that's, you know what I mean? It's still, just because there isn't a physical attack on someone doesn't necessarily mean that they're not a victim of something. But on the other hand, I don't want to be kind of confusing anyone with that with saying that, oh yeah, it's all about the feelings, because yeah, you know, women emotionally manipulate men's feelings more often than they'd like to admit. So they're constantly the oppressor, ironically claiming to be the oppressed. But do you see what I mean with that, though?
It's actually been pretty common throughout human history for those who oppress those the most. They tend to be the ones trying to say that they are the most oppressed. They try to justify them oppressing others by saying that they are themselves oppressed.
Well, I mean, the thing is, because when I sort of
Like,
look
take a
back
look
as
at
to how
Nazi
things
Germany.
were.
There you go.
Yeah,
Take a
go
look
on.
at Nazi Germany. The Nazis said that they were being oppressed or threatened.
Well, the thing is, the problem with that is we'd need for all the global governments to be 100% transparent in everything that happened. Because, I mean, yeah, Hitler did do a lot of bad shit. I'm not going to deny that. But at the same time, it would be very interesting to see what other countries were responsible for someone to get to that point where it's just sort of like, you know what, I'm gonna start doing some real nasty ass shit, and you lot ain't gonna like it, and you either join me or you're gonna die, which is pretty much how it turned out, you know.
Welcome to human history.
Well, this is it, and you know, in the same like where you sort of start looking at things with different aspects, whereas Churchill. Now, a lot of British people will say, you know, they'll sing his praises all day long.
Speaking
But
of Churchill, like I said, I made Churchill proud with that dislike.
you know, but was he 100% legit, genuine, or was there a little touch of psychopath in there?
Oh, I'm sure there
That
was
you
a
know,
touch of psychopath. I mean, come on, he's human.
well, this is it. And at the same time, all it takes is that little bit of psychopath for you know things to go absolutely well, get completely out of hand.
Yeah.
Like you say, we've seen that happen time and time again in human history. We see it like not on a daily basis, but at least like once every couple of weeks, with the state of affairs being with what they are, you know, hence Trump's travel ban and so on and so forth. And
I love Trump's travel ban because it pisses off all the right people.
yeah, guess right to him.
Yep. Yeah. No. Let's just say this. I need to have Kekistani underwear so that way whenever Trump's travel ban is brought up, I'm raising the Kekistani flag.
Oh man, you can get help for that. You know that, right?
So if anyone wants to custom have some boxers made that have the Kekistani flag on it and send it to me, let me know. I will wear them.
Have a look on eBay. You'll be surprised.
Right? Oh my god, I can just imagine.
Yeah. Anyway,
Very true, Zeitgeist. Very true. Zeitgeist says something that should be noted is women's inflated confidence is financed by debt in the state. State inserting itself again. Yeah, the state really loves to insert itself in our women, doesn't it?
Well, I like to insert myself in women too, but sadly, it's too fucking risky these days. Oh shit! No, am I the only one that got that?
Holy Blade says "Re."
Am I the only one that got that? Maybe I'm the only one that heard it.
I didn't hear it. I saw Holy Blade's "Re" and the "Re" started resounding through my ears.
Yeah, I said I like to insert myself in women, but it's just too risky these days.
Right? Jesus. So how did you like my response to the dislike in the chat?
Is that to me or is that to?
No, it was just a response to the dislike.
I can't see the chat, man. My internet's been a bit.
On
Sorry,
the first
man.
day of Kexmas, lefties gave to me one triggly.
One little triggly puff.
Yep. See, I was expecting some more hate to start flowing in, and a lot more like downvotes and that sort of thing. So I was thinking I might continue it if that ended up happening.
No, that comes with time, man.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I'm surprised that my videos aren't getting like waves of hate given the situation that happened recently. So,
well, the thing is,
and just the general content of my channel. You know, I mean, I try to use as much logic and reason as I can, and apparently that makes me the most evil motherfucker to walk the planet.
I mean, a lot what they tend to be doing now is they're actually oh, what's the word? They're not hiding, but they're just not really showing a lot of videos that would be relevant to other YouTubers. They're not flagging them up.
Oh no, no, no.
So
You so you haven't heard of exactly what they do with videos?
not exactly. No, go on.
Oh no, 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 no. The thing is they have a thing, and it's actually started being implemented now, where they can put a video or even a channel into a suspended state where it doesn't show up on any suggested. It doesn't have its own suggested feed. It won't, and it won't show up in other people's feeds. It cannot be liked, cannot be disliked, cannot have comments on it, cannot be monetized, and cannot be linked to outside sources through the share function.
Really?
Yep.
No.
And they're saying that that's not censorship.
That sounds like communism to me.
Right? 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 That sounds like something straight out of Soviet Russia right there.
And I thought the internet was the place of the free. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of shit on there that I don't agree with, but then
Yeah,
it's my choice to go and see it or not. So
as long as there isn't a victim, I say go for it.
Exactly that.
You know, I mean, obviously, don't have pictures of people fucking kids, but
Oh well, that's the other one. Don't even get me started, man.
And I decided to be nice and not trigger every last motherfucker in the chat.
Unlucky,
because the thing is I'm one of those people. I feel so strongly about it. Oh, I can trigger some motherfuckers. Oh,
I might go there. What you mean, like the leftist wanting to put the?
No. I mean, I can trigger people from the right, left, and middle. Like I can get everyone pissed off as fuck just off of the image that I can plant in your head.
Yeah, probably best you don't then.
Yeah, like you would start screaming at me. You might actually disown me. Like if I was to sit there and go fully off on it.
Actually, now I'm tempted to know. Go on.
Well, the thing is like with stuff like that, I try to make it sound as horrible as possible, and so I go ahead and I basically implant the image in your head. So I'll sit there and I'll say, as long as you don't have a video of someone fucking a little kid while they're screaming for their parents, while their parents are tied up in the fucking corner, having to watch their child get ripped apart by some monster cock.
Yeah, I'm sure that's happened.
I'm very sure that that's happened. It's like cuck porn versus, fused with fucking child porn at that point. No, I'm sure that it's fucking happened. But the thing is when people aren't expecting me saying something like that, they don't have the defenses up, and so the image pops into their head, and then they want to physically attack me. Yeah, just for putting that image in their head.
Yeah, they need someone to point the anger at, rather than where it actually should be directed.
But they also see me as a threat at that point, because the thing is I'm able to put my mind into that place so easily. But that's because I'm one of those people, as I've grown up. Like when I was a kid, believe it or not, I was happy-go-lucky. I was a very happy kid. Always smiling, always assuming the best of people and that sort of thing. Then at some point, I think it was when I was about 8, that all changed. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I started noticing only the bad in humanity. For a long time.
Well,
never went, I was just able to fucking think along those horrible lines.
Well, going back to what we were saying earlier in the stream, is why do you think computers would have figured this out, and then, or artificial intelligence figured it out and thought, well, at the end of the day, the problem is humans. And that's from an AI point of view.
Yeah, Zeitgeist, decentralized servers are coming. In fact, my videos now that are being uploaded on my YouTube are automatically being ripped off onto BitChute. So, yeah, I'm actually on BitChute. So if you want to look me up, it's Ryan Night of Flame is the channel on there. So if you want to go ahead and look it up there, of course, it's going to come out after this, and you can't take part in the live streams if you're strictly going through BitChute. But I mean, you can come here for the live streams, and then any videos that I release or anything like that will be there just in case YouTube decides to put them into a limited state. Or if they decide to just outright delete it or try to delete my channel. All my videos will be up there. Unfortunately, the videos that I already released before I started up my BitChute, well, motherfucker, I have to manually rip and upload all those.
Damn.
Yeah, that's gonna fucking suck. That's over 200 videos.
Yeah, you're gonna need some time for that.
I'm like, yeah, life sucks a dick there. But yeah, so I'm doing that, and apparently BitChute is looking at introducing Bitcoin. So if people want to go ahead and donate and that sort of thing, like if I start up if I go ahead and link up my Bitcoin to it and that sort of thing, people can go ahead and do it that way. But they haven't implemented that yet. I'm thinking about going ahead and doing that on BitChute.
Oh, fair.
All right, Zeitgeist, have yourself a good one. Thanks for joining the stream. Always a pleasure. I'll go ahead and get with you on chat to go ahead and figure out a good time frame for you to go ahead and do a stream with me.
Yeah, man. I think on that note, dude, I'm gonna have to bust a groove as well, man.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, man. Yeah, I've got work on that in the morning.
Dilligaf has to do his adulting thing.
Shh, don't tell anyone.
He's got to be all responsible and shit.
Tell me about it, man.
I mean, hell, at that point, you're not meeting the image of a stereotypical man. Aren't men supposed to all be men children? You know, I mean, we're not supposed to be able to commit to anything. We're not supposed to have any sense of right and wrong. We're not supposed to have any sense of duty or anything like that. I mean, that's the typical view of a man nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, there is that. There is that. But
so fuck it, man up and stay. Oh.
you know me. I'll have to prove him wrong.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me on the stream. Cool. Always a pleasure.
Likewise, man. Thanks for having me on.
I think we should probably start doing streams a little bit earlier if that's possible for you, so you can stay for a little bit longer, because we literally just hit an hour not too long ago.
Yeah. No, fair. Okay, man. Cool. Well, it's been great. Thanks again, man. Much appreciated.
Have a good one. And anyone that's watching now, make absolutely certain to go ahead and check out Dilligaf's channel. He has a lot of awesome content. If you like my content, I guarantee you'll like his content for the most part. Because me and him think along the same lines on a lot of things, but we have just enough diversity there to be able to argue every once in a while. So it's kind of refreshing. So if you get tired of sitting there listening to me drone on, you can go ahead, go to his channel, refresh your palate, and then come back and watch the rest of my videos.
Cool.
All right, have yourself a good one, man.
All right, man. You take it easy, fella. Catch you all later, man. Enjoy.
Peace.
All right.
So to everyone else in the chat, anything that you guys want me to cover in particular? Any recent going-ons that I may not have brought up lately or might not know about? Or do you want me to talk about random fucking shit? Trust me, you don't want the random fucking shit. I'm in a weird place as far as my brain's concerned today. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to go ahead and think of something. But while y'all are going ahead and thinking of that, I'll just go ahead and kind of go off on a random tangent. Me and Dilligaf have had discussions in the past about sex bots. But the thing is, you know, we brought up the positives, we brought up the negatives. We just brought up some really scary negatives today. But I want to go ahead and get everyone's opinion on it. You know, go ahead, let me know down in the chat if you're watching afterwards and you're not here for the live stream. But also in the live stream, go ahead and chime in. Do you think that sex bots pose a threat to humanity more so than anything? Or do you think that sex bots are a little are kind of a happy medium that we can meet that might alleviate some issues and some stress between the sexes? I'm honestly curious about this. I want your guys' opinions. Because my opinion personally is I think that they're going to be a happy medium. There would definitely take some social adjustment, but I think it's kind of a happy medium there, because you got some people that just aren't the type to really go out and be social and that sort of thing. And so the odds of them finding a good partner. All right. So Turbattle says he thinks that sex bots are inevitable. Fair enough. I'm in agreement there. I think sex bots were going to be inevitable no matter what. It's just technology needed to catch up. But my reason for that is because, like I said, the sexes have kind of stopped treating each other as human. Both sexes are kind of guilty in some degree. Have started utilizing the other for utility more often than not. I mean, guys have always been interested in women for pussy. Let's be fucking honest. Guys are hardwired to, want to stick it in and jiggle it around for a while. But at the same time, throughout history, you hear of these stories of guys, being so desperate for companionship that they're willing to go to hell and back, sometimes literally, for it. But I've noticed nowadays less and less guys have that willingness about them. And like I said, I can't blame guys. Not dogging on guys there. But I think guys have every single reason to be like that. Holy Blade said, I would get one if I gave up on life, but I personally am of the belief that it could bombard women into submission politically if the boys aren't stopped, that is. Honestly, I'm with you on that, Holy Blade, and I don't see that as a negative. Because the thing is guys right now actually have very few, I guess you would call them, political weapons or any political high ground at this point, especially given the social climate and how men are viewed. And that's very true, Terra Battle. Humans have always commodified each other. I mean, we've always, looked for, if the bots aren't stopped. But again, I'm kind of failing to see the issue with women being bombarded into submission. I mean, they went ahead and did that to us recently, and using sex as their vector. I mean, isn't turnabout fair play? Just honestly, I'm asking for opinions here. But I do agree, Terra Battle, that we have commodified each other. We've always, given people who, or should I say, viewed people who are more sexually attractive as having slightly more worth, slightly more validity, so on and so forth. Perfect example of that is, I mean, look at people looking to Hollywood stars and starlets for political advice. I mean, the thing is, these people aren't really qualified to really be giving much political advice. In fact, very often they are completely unfamiliar with the topics, and they're just parroting certain talking points that happen to align with their political party that they're a part of. They toe the line. They really don't have that single thought of their own. They just kind of go with the crowd as far as that goes, which is one of the reasons why they're so successful in their industry. That and their sex appeal, typically. Whether it be through the method of hypergamy, gynocentrism, or just outright human biology. It doesn't matter. Terror Battle says best negotiation is no negotiation. Holy Blade says no mercy. Yeah, you're right. I'm fresh out of mercy. I used up all of my mercy in my very early years. And Love says, unfortunately, I'm all for sex doll and sex bots. It's sad that I have to say that because I think morally it's wrong, but also along the same lines, I'm for legalizing prostitution. To a degree, I'm for legalizing prostitution as well. It's all like, you know what? If a woman or a guy wants to sit there and take money from someone else, in exchange for the other person being allowed to fuck them silly, by all means. You know, I mean, at that point, it's between two consenting adults. I don't think the government should have any fucking place there. Let's see. Love says, historically, the act of marriage was synonymous with consent since feminism. Marriage has literally no meaning. A man can outsource everything in marriage, cooking, cleaning, etc., except for sex. Very, very true. Love brings up a very, very good point there. But that's something that I will have to unpack in another live stream or video. Probably a live stream because I don't think I could compact that down into a half an hour. But very true, Love. I'm going to go ahead and try to keep that in mind. Maybe I'll go ahead and cover that in a completely separate stream and expand on it. Yeah, Terror Battle, you also bring up a good point. They're trying to call all prostitution sex trafficking now, even if it's an individual acting on their own. Not being forced into it or anything, them making the choice themselves. They're trying to sit there and say that they know better than these people and that these people shouldn't be allowed to do what they want to do with their bodies unless it has been ordained by the ultimate overlords and they view themselves as the ultimate overlords. Very, very true. Holy Blade says, I think it's morally wrong as well, but I don't care as much about the morals of it. I'm for legal prostitution as well. Terror Battle says, hookup apps are a parallel industry to prostitution as well. Very much so. And the thing is at that point, people are paying to prostitute themselves out. They're not even getting paid for it. So at that point, it's kind of like at that point, these apps are actually the pimp in that relationship. But I mean, hell, even pimps give a little bit of money to their hoes, you know? Come on. And you're right, Turbattle. You're absolutely right there. It is sexual silent embargo taking place. But the thing is women are finding themselves in a position that they've never found themselves in before, because now the embargo is going to be levied against them. They've always had the option of placing that embargo against men, and men had no real way out of it. And so now we're seeing women starting to kind of freak out about it. And I can't blame them. I mean, you know, one of the big sources of their power, and even women realize this, you know, this has been brought up multiple times. Even women realize that a lot of their power and authority really comes from the power of sex. So the thing is at that point you get a interesting cross section of the human psyche when women react that way, because when you realize that your power base is now dwindling, it's just disappearing into the aether as you go. Well, it's a thing, you know. You end up being one of those people that will either do everything you can to try to stranglehold that power, which is what feminism's trying to do on behalf of women by trying to sit there and say, oh, well, female, women having sex bots is perfectly fine because reasons, but men having sex bots, no, that's a rape because, rape is forced penetration and these bots can't consent. Honestly, I'm waiting for them to sit there and try to say that a guy sitting there alone in his room jerking off is somehow some form of fucking rape. I'm really waiting. I know that they said jerking off to porn is equivalent to rape. I know that they said that a while back, but I'm talking about a guy just sitting there, blank mind, just stroking his dick is rape. I'm waiting for that. Yeah, Terror Battle, yeah, the meme, the cost is too damn high, definitely applies here. They raised the cost of pussy so high that someone went out and decided to create an alternative, and now look at that business. It's already booming, and it's not even fully in swing. And it's just starting out. The technology isn't even fully developed yet, and people are already pre-ordering the shit. And I'm not one for pre-order culture. I'm gonna let y'all know right now. I am not one for pre-order culture. Oh, Donald, it's not one of those things of I can't. I can't. I'm saying I can't blame them because they're coming to that realization. I'm in full agreement that their suffering is self-inflicted here. And Donald, I actually covered that earlier on in the stream. I sat there and asked, when are we going to see a lawsuit against a dildo manufacturer because a woman got drunk, went home, used the dildo, and then she says that the dildo factory raped her because she was drunk and so she couldn't consent. I actually covered that earlier in the stream. But yeah, as far as me not being able to blame women for freaking out, I mean, no, even if you're the one who stepped out into the middle of the road, when you see that bus coming at you, you're gonna freak out. So I can't blame them on that. It's a natural reaction. I'm not saying that it's not self-inflicted, but I'm just saying I can't blame them for freaking out going, what the fuck are we gonna do? Because now they're looking at all of a sudden having to compete with technology, which women have not had to do throughout history. Men have always been competing with technology. Always. And we always will compete with technology. But the thing is women are now starting to have to compete with technology. And I know some people will sit there and say, well, what about, braiding machines and all that? They had to compete with that. That's on a very minor scale. Take a look at just about every job that men are predominantly in. How much of it does not, how much of it has not had job losses, or at least sections of it being lost to technological advancement, to automation? Well, now women, their biggest thing is being automated. It's coming at a cheaper cost. It retains its value for longer, can easily be replaced, whereas any man who's sat there and gone through a divorce will tell you that trading up women is not a cheap prospect, nor is it easy, and it takes a lot of your time. So, yeah, with a robot, it's as simple as maybe replacing a few parts or even the entire robot itself. So it's something that's offering a higher value for a lower cost with less risk. From a consumer standpoint, it's a no-brainer. Let's see. Turbattle says a 15K sex robot is worth not losing half of everything. Very true. Very true. The first male sex bots will be charged with rape as well. Yep, very true. Whether you stab yourself or not, you still bleed and hurt the same. Yep, again, very true. Yep, they'll have a glitch and go out of control. That's funny, Holy Blade. Me want snow. Let's see. Donald at Turbattle. So if I get a male sex bot, it's gay rape. basically. Yep, Donald, and then they will sue to suspend all production. Yeah, very true. But the thing is at that point, guys can sit there and argue. You haven't heard of a single case of a man actually saying that one of these robots raped them. So, yeah, female, the female versions can go ahead and keep being produced. But the male versions, if you want to go ahead and get rid of that, go for it. That's your choice. Holy Blade says, make this saying stop in quotation marks. Robot slaps you. Robot, I am a man. Yeah, as legal tactics, they'll blame sex bots. But you know what? As legal tactics, people have been blaming video games for violence. So, yeah, that hasn't been exactly working out. You don't see video games being banned en masse. It takes quite the thing. Hey, Squeefles, what's up? How you doing, big brother? But yeah, when it comes down to the whole can sex bots be raped or can sex bots rape, at that point it's going to come down to he said, it said, or as she said, it said. Did you just misgender my sex bot, JK? Oh God. But yeah, like I said, with sex bots, I think that it could actually do humanity a lot of good having that, because I mean at that point it actually is bringing capitalism back into the whole sexual marketplace. Where before prostitution was ever illegalized or anything like that, women were all like, hey, I have to compete with professionals. That means I actually have to keep my game up. Fair enough. And that's very true, Turbattle. He says, when women lose the sex appeal, they essentially become men. And that's actually very true. And you actually have proof of this. I mean, look at women who age. You tend to stop doing the special little favors for them the older that they get. The more age that they show, the less favors that they get, unless someone's got some sort of fetish going on. But as far as a general statement, as women age, they get less and less favors done for them, and they don't like that, because then they start getting treated more and more like a man. Turbattle says, I actually wish manhood upon every feminist just to see them suffer. Damn, dude. Wow. Oh. Legend says, I'm interested in hearing when SJW fucktards will be instructed to walk off the nearest cliff. They'll follow it. They'll follow it because they don't want to be, because the one thing worse than death to them is being labeled a racist or a sexist or a white supremacist or something like that. They're more afraid of words than physical harm. Warrior says it can't be soon enough. I have to kind of agree. But the thing is I mean, the best way to cure madness is to just get rid of it before it spreads. And like I said, this whole progressive liberal bullshit, it's like a fucking disease. It's a fucking pandemic right now. And we got to find some solution to it. Don't get me wrong, going too far right's just as bad, but the thing is at the same time, when you're actually looking at this situation, you have to take into account a few other things. So, like, are these people actually going along with this because they believe in it? Because they actually believe the bullshit? Or are they going along with it because they're just too afraid of the perceived consequences? And that's, again, very true, Turbattle. The sexual marketplace is flooded. And who do women have to thank for that? The fact of the matter is when you go ahead and take into account all of the damage that's been done from the quote unquote sexual revolution, basically go out there, put it out there, no one will judge you. That was a fucking lie. People still judge. And funnily enough, the only people that judge women harshly for putting it out there are other women. And I find it funny that, a lot of the people bitching and complaining about the quote unquote objectification of women typically aren't the hot ones. It's typically not unless they're, going for a political position or they're a starlet or something like that, and them being popular and going with the mainstream is kind of required for them to remain popular. I find it funny that the vast majority of the women that are bitching, complaining about the objectification of women are the women that aren't objectified because they're too fucking ugly to be objectified. Dicks and stoned may rape their bones, but words never heal them. Oh, yeah, Terror Battle, they have done everything that they can do to destroy the idea of the husband. And now that there are fewer and fewer husbands and husbands are going extinct, now they're sitting there and asking where all the husbands went. It's all like, really? Really? You sat there and made it so unappealing to be a husband. You sat there and made it to where a man is socially ostracized for being a husband, is socially shamed, is socially abused, physically abused, emotionally abused, told that they're worthless, made worthless through biased divorce courts, and overall their lives being made miserable just by them putting a fucking ring on a finger. And you wonder why men are saying, yeah, fuck that ring. Jesus Christ. The level of stupidity involved in that is mind-boggling. Terror Battle has a really good analogy there. The sex market is like the price of DVD and CDR sex bots are streaming. That's funny. Yeah, no, seriously, it's just one of those things. Now women are having to compete with technology. They've, for the first time in their existence, have been made completely obsolete. Even with the most basic of technology. So now they're getting a taste of it. Welcome to a man's life. Those fucking vibrators or ungodly sized dildos, all that sort of shit, that you said that men shouldn't be bitching and complaining about. Well, guess what, bitch? Time to put up or shut up. Either you shut the fuck up about this situation or you realize that you've been absolute fucking cunts for the last few centuries. Oh yeah, I fully agree. Holy Blade, rings are a scam, and it is just a guy sitting there and saying, "Oh, look, I'm willing to spend money on you just cause." But yeah, um, and when it comes to sex bots, honestly, at that point, I think socially they're going to be kind of the great equalizer, just because of the pure and simple fact that now women are going to actually have to compete, and it's going to be funny watching them squirm because they're not used to competing in the sexual marketplace. And you're right, Terror Battle. It was the fairest deal that this land has ever seen. Terror Battle says that patriarchy was the fairest. And yeah, actually, that way of doing things is actually the fairest, because the thing is men have their responsibility, women have their responsibility. Is it perfect? No. But also at the same time, like Squeefles is bringing up, uh, when you look at patriarchy, it tends to be a raw deal for men, even at that point. Because a lot more is expected of men than of women, because not only are men held responsible for themselves, but they are also held responsible for individuals that they do not have full control over. Um, Holy Blade says the women's need to get good. Seriously, men should demand a dowry for marriage, and that dowry should be that man's. The woman should have no fucking access to it, and the guy should set it aside so he has something to live off of after the inevitable fucking that he gets. Quite frankly, I think we need to just get rid of alimony, period. Because the thing is, if we got rid of alimony, I guarantee you we would see divorce rates drop through the floor. Because alimony has made it to where divorce is profitable for women, as well as lawyers and as well as courts and the government itself, all that sort of thing. The only people it's not profitable for is the men. Oh boy. Turbattle says that men should demand also something unrealistic, like the woman being a virgin. That's kind of fucking funny. But the thing is how about this? How about this? If they are bound and determined to keep alimony and keep that same bullshit reason so the woman can continue to live in the life to which she has become accustomed, well, guess what? That means after the fact, that guy's gotten accustomed to having a sexual partner. So guess what? It's up to her to fix that fucking problem. So either he gets to come over and pound her pussy a couple times a week, or she has to pay for the prostitutes with her own money. How about that? I think that sounds kind of fair if you want to balance out the whole alimony thing. Very true, Turbattle. He says men want women, but not as much as women desire husbands. The market is asymmetrical. Very true. Yes, pussy payments. Turbattle Recognizes the reference I'm making there. Good on you. Good on you. But yeah, no, seriously, it's all like, why in the fuck should a woman be able to decide on such a massive life change and yet expect her life to not change except for that one fucking thing? That's like sitting there and saying, oh, I'm not going to go ahead and have car insurance. But then when she gets into an accident, demand that the car insurance company that she's no longer fucking paying pay for the repairs to her car and cover all the legal costs and everything. It's the same fucking thing. It's the same fucking concept. No, you fucking left. You have no more entitlement to anything. Period. End of story. Or how about this? How about this? They want to go ahead and keep alimony? Well, guess what? Okay, the guy will have to go ahead and pay alimony. But the woman has to buy him a sex bot before she receives her first alimony payment. Boom. Problem solved. At least the guy gets something, right? I think that's a good start. And actually, legend, the president has been set. Sex does count in divorce. Remember that woman that sued her husband for 10 extra grand because she kept denying him sex? But then she said that he was sexually neglecting her, and she got the 10,000. That set the precedent. Sex is part of marriage. Sex is equivalent to a financial part of marriage. Women done fucked themselves on that one. Oh, I'm expecting that Turbattle, the whole retroactive alimony bullshit. Women are gonna sit there and marry guys, divorce them, and then not take them to the cleaners, so that way guys get suckered back in mass. Going, oh well, women aren't fucking guys over anymore, and then as soon as they get a whole bunch of them, they're gonna sit there and retroactive payments. Oh, no. Turbattle, I'm going to disagree with you there. He says that marriage is perilous. I do not agree with that. It is fucking suicide. It's not perilous, because if something's perilous, you can at least survive it. You will not survive fucking marriage. There's a reason why the vows say, till death do you part, because guess what? That divorce kills the man. And that's very true. Legend, in response to what I said, says, doesn't matter until it's enforced, bro. It has to be enforced as a standard. Yeah, that's very true. But the thing is the precedent is there now. And so lawyers can go ahead and use that. I think there's a reason why you don't see women bringing that up all that much, because they subconsciously know if they start doing that shit, then all of a sudden the argument for legalized prostitution is going to go ahead and become very fucking rampant, because they're going to be all like, we're already having to pay for sex or lack thereof, so why in the fuck are we not allowed to purchase it from wherever we want? Why are we being told where we can and cannot shop for it? At that point, it comes down to the same fucking thing of being told where you can and cannot shop for clothes. Although we do have some instances of that, with that one clothing company that sat there and said, no fat people. And I applaud them for it. I mean, the reasoning for it was very snobbish and stuff, but the base principle, I'm behind it. Turbattle says marriage is essentially a death pledge cult. Basically. At least, but the only ones having to take the death pledge are men. But the thing is with sex bots, I think it's going to go ahead and take care of a lot of these issues because men are going to be all like, if I have to pay for maintenance, I'm at least going to pay for maintenance on something that I own and that I get to ride anytime I want. The saying boys and their toys is going to take on a whole new meaning. Just saying. Oh, dude. Like, once sex bots become mainstream, life will be good for men. Oh, I hate the term sex positive feminism. There's no sect of feminism that is positive about sex. They're always negative about it because they either want to regulate it down to the hilt or they want to go ahead and just fucking abolish it. You know, they just want to try to remove it from our reality. Guess what? That ain't fucking happening. See, with me, the only thing that I'm concerned about with sex bots is wearing one out. I mean, how expensive is the upkeep going to be on it? You know, that's my real question. Like, how often are these things going to wear the fuck out? Like, do they have a certain amount of thrust guarantee? You know, I mean, is there some sort of warranty on these things? I want the Ex Machina companion massage bots. All right, fair enough, fair enough. Um, but yeah, at this point, when I'm looking at this shit, I just have to take into account a couple of things, and one is the whole reproduction thing. So the artificial womb is a really good answer to it, but also at the same time, it's all like, how many people out there truly want to be a single parent? I mean, honestly, show of hands here. How many people want to be a single parent? Not very many. And so I can see some problems rising from that because then you're going to go ahead and you're going to get a split between men and women that will never be rectified because you're going to have women raising single children and then you're going to have men raising single children. And it's eventually going to become one of those things where the children that are raised by single men are going to sit there and look at the children raised by single women and go, you ain't got shit. Whereas the kids raised by single women are going to be sitting there constantly running to people, they hurt my feelings. And they're just going to have to pray that the person that's that they're running to isn't one of those ones that was raised by a single man, because they'll be all like, and? Your feelings mean shit. Get the fuck back out there. Tour Battle says male sexuality is only good if men pleasure land whales and uggos. Yeah, that's very true. But the thing is, they're even bitching about that. They're sitting there and saying, oh, if you're a man and you're interested in women that are overweight, you're fetishizing them, and so you're a worthless piece of shit, and you should be ashamed of yourself. It's all like, dude, bitches, if you are a fucking land whale and you got a guy that's actually gonna get a hard on for you, do not bitch and complain about it. Oh my God. Like, I've never seen the logic behind that. It's all like, look, you're already societally not considered attractive at that point. I mean, let's be honest, you know, people who are overweight, societally, generally, they aren't considered attractive. Some people can carry the weight pretty well, fair enough. But I'm talking about like the amorphous blobs, you know? I'm talking about the ones where it's all like you can't tell where their chin ends and their ass begins. I'm talking about those. You know, it's all like if someone's gonna sit there and be sexually attracted to you at that point, maybe you shouldn't fucking diss them on it. Maybe at that point take the win. Because it's the only one you're gonna get. Just saying. The whole beggars can't be choosers thing really comes into play here. And then you've got, you know, you've got these guys that sit there and actually capitulate to this. And that sucks. It's all like, really? You're going to sit there and take that fucking abuse? You're going to sit there and say, oh, well, you know, it's okay for them to treat me this way because of reasons. No. No. You showing sexual interest in someone is not inherently evil. Just means that you're sexually interested in them. If they take it as insulting, that's on them. That's their fucking problem. They can get bent. But I'm just so sick and tired of these people who are sitting there, you know, like these women that are sitting there and at best a 2 out of 10. With one being slightly uglier than Quasimodo. Sitting there and thinking that a guy that's a 5 looking at her sexually is insulting, that he's somehow below her. Fuck you, cunt. Just gonna be completely fucking honest at that point. Do not bitch and complain about someone who's moderately more attractive than you being attracted to you, saying that you deserve a fucking 10 when you're a fucking 2. Fuck off. And the same goes for guys. You know, you got these guys that sit there and look somewhat like me and sit there and think that they deserve a woman that looks like a young Jessica Alba. Like, no. No. Shoot in your range. But the thing is men sit there and have that as their standard and they just abstain until they can try to get lucky at that point. Whereas women are actively shaming men for not downgrading to epic proportions. That is fucking ridiculous. I'm just saying, be realistic. And also, assess what you bring to a fucking relationship, you know? I mean, honestly, like if you're going to get into a relationship, assess what you bring to the relationship, then keep a close eye on what the other person's bringing to the relationship. If it doesn't at least get close to balancing out, abandon ship. If you get with someone and you realize they're a fucking psycho, run. Go into witness protection. I don't care. Get the fuck away from it. And again, guys, be very careful about the laws in your area. Look up cohabitation laws. Look up laws that might end up with you being married against your consent, because that is a thing that happens. It's called common law marriage. Look up any common laws in your area, make sure you don't fall into that fucking trap. Don't even give the other person an opportunity for it. That means don't sit there and rent out a 2-bedroom apartment with some chick just because you need a fucking roommate. No, 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 no. Don't do that. Because the thing is they can hit you with common law there, even if you're sleeping in a separate fucking room. Don't think you have to be sleeping in the same bed. Don't think you have to be having sex. Don't think you have to have any sort of romantic relationship. That's not what common law marriage is for. Or should I say that's not what it's used for? Be careful. Be cautious. Be smart. But the thing is also at the same time, if you're one of those people that can afford a sex bot and you're kind of on the fence about it, I recommend it. Oh, we already know the bachelor tax is coming. We already know that fucking shit. I mean, that's an inevitability. But the thing is some women have actually been making noises about that. They've been saying, yeah, the bachelor tax is a really stupid idea because then guys will have less money to spend on us and then they'll be less likely to date us, making it harder to find a quality guy that we can milk for all he's worth. So maybe stop with that. But not enough women are fucking speaking out about it. Um, and I mean, I understand their reasoning behind it. You know, it's all like, oh, well, if guys aren't going to date, then we're going to go ahead and just give these women the resources. But the thing is, we know that those resources aren't actually going to go to the women's. Maybe 1% of the bachelor tax collected will actually go to some women. The rest of them will be going into politician and bureaucrat pockets. But here's the thing. Women have been sitting here and saying for the longest time that they don't need men. They need men like a fish needs a bicycle and that sort of thing. But then when you ask them to reconcile, you know, shit like common law marriage and alimony and all that sort of thing, then all of a sudden they run back to traditionalism and appeal to that. So, like, you can't have both at the same time. Either you're a traditionalist or you're a modernist. It's one of the fucking two. You cannot reconcile the two. They are diametrically opposed to one another. You can't pick from one and then pick from the other and just avoid all the bad. You can't fucking do that. But women nowadays don't understand that because they've been allowed to do that for so long. They've been getting privilege after privilege after privilege without any of the responsibility that comes along with it. They've just been heaping the responsibility onto guys. Well, guys have now it's gotten to the point where there was a straw that broke the camel's back. I'm not exactly sure where this happened. But guys are all like, yeah, no, fuck that noise. You know, guys looked at it and they're all like, you know what? This has officially gotten to be absolutely not worth it. And then women offered a solution. It's all like, oh, well, you refuse to pay for a pussy? All right, we'll give it to you for free. Free samples. Well, now the guys are existing solely off of the free samples. And so now they're trying to overcorrect for that. It's all like, no matter what you do, guys are going to find a way around this shit. Guys have had their eyes opened. You woke this beast up, and it is not going back into hibernation for a long fucking time. You just got to learn to fucking deal with it. It's like, you know what? Guys are losing interest. And if you accuse someone of something for long enough, they will just outright start doing it. If they're going to be taking the punishment for it, they're at least going to sit there and say, well, I'm already going to be considered guilty of this, so might as well do it. And that's a big problem with authoritarianism. It creates monsters. Like, honestly, I am truly surprised, and I'm really proud of guys for how they've handled the rape situation, you know, the whole rape thing. It's all like, oh, well, if I'm just accused of rape, then, and that can happen at any time, and I'm going to be considered guilty no matter what, I might as well do it, at least have that little bit of fun. You know, at least, you know, get my rocks off before I go to prison. I'm honestly surprised that guys haven't started going down that fucking mental path. So I'm actually kind of proud of guys there. Let's see. Turbattle says, if most women had to choose from being a modern woman and a traditionalist, they would choose to be stay-at-home moms. Yeah, so they choose to basically be a traditionalist. And yeah, that's true. The subset of a certain subset of feminists does control the agenda for all women. And the thing is that's women's fault. They're not speaking up. They're not using their voice. They're not speaking out against the shit. So it's kind of hard for me to feel completely sorry for them when feminist policies come back and bite all women in the ass. And it's kind of ironic because, you know, feminists were, you know, were the ones that sat there and used the hashtag not all, then jumped men for sitting there and using that. But feminists bullshit is negatively affecting hashtag all women. You know, it's negatively affecting women. It's negatively affecting men. It's negatively affecting everyone. And people are seeing this. They're bringing it up. But feminists are saying, oh, no. You're just too stupid to see the positive that we're doing. No, it's that they're realists and they see that this is causing damage. They see the collapse that's happening. And they're sick of your shit. That's the reason why there's so many women that are ditching the label of feminism in droves. Because they realize that having that title attached to them makes them toxic as fuck. Because feminism has rightly gained this stigma about it, that it's all about man-hating, that it's all about female supremacy, that it's not about equal rights, that it's about women taking everything that they can without putting in any real fucking effort other than sitting there and bitching and complaining. They have rightly earned that stigma. And the thing is it's funny because feminists try to say that women are these strong, independent beings while they themselves are sitting there and saying that they have to speak out for women because women are too weak to speak out for themselves. And then they say that women are oppressed by patriarchy or what the fuck ever buzzword they want to fucking throw out there. And then when women speak out against them going, no, we kind of want to go back to the way it was because we had it pretty damn good there and we're miserable in this situation. You can take your shit and shove it up your fucking ass. Then they sit there and oppress those women. They suppress their fucking free speech, their free will. And they make sure that these women can't have any level of agency without having to go through hell and high water. I find it ironic. Feminism is having the exact opposite effect that it says that it wants to fucking have. And yet you still have people that are so fucking brainwashed that they will fucking believe it because feminism is a cult. It tells you that if you even listen to another opinion, that you are somehow flawed beyond repair and must be destroyed. They use fear. They use social terrorism. They use political terrorism to get their way. That's the reason why on my channel, I will sit there and try to look at both sides. I don't sit there and just say all women are fucking evil. I will not fucking ever say that in a serious capacity. I might say it to get a rise out of someone. But the thing is women are being harmed just as much by feminism as men, because now women are being hung out to dry. Men are now abandoning women. And again, rightly so. Women didn't stand up and say anything. As soon as they got any level of agency, it became their duty to say something. And they didn't. Oh, well, Turbattle, the thing is some women with sons will actually turn to their sons and start teaching their sons that they're just natural rapists, they're pieces of shit, and that they have to atone for some sin that they haven't done. I know Ben Shapiro went off on one woman that fucking did that shit. But that does fucking happen. But I mean, there's a lot of women that have sons that are going, hey, I don't want my offspring to be offed by some psychopath that you motherfuckers are breeding with your fucking lies. I would really like my genetic lineage to go on. Thank you very much. I want my family to actually be able to succeed. So yeah, those women speak up. But the thing is then again, feminists come in and destroy their fucking family. They'll go after the husband's job or something like that, making it so that the woman now has bigger fish to fucking fry as far as trying to, keep that family unit together, which is already a hard enough prospect in today's society. And another issue that feminism's brought about is the glorifying of single mothers or single motherhood. Hell, they're trying to sit there and glorify teen pregnancy. It's like, oh, good job. You just fucking ruined just about any chance of you having any real future. You just socially damaged yourself to the point of almost being a pariah, but we're going to applaud you for that shit. That's fucking retarded. And I ain't talking about the funny kind of retarded where you can sit there and point and laugh and get a good chuckle out of it. I'm talking tragic retarded. Oh, Liam, I have no doubt that Marxism is definitely a root cause of feminism. If you actually read some of the earliest feminist books and texts and all of that sort of thing, their earliest propaganda, it's dripping with Marxism. Honestly, Karl Marx was one of the worst things to happen to society. That fucking psychopath, again, missed abortion opportunity. Someone should have, when his mother was pregnant with him, they should have not just shoved her down an entire flight of stairs. They should have shoved her off of the tallest building in the world. They should have made damn sure that didn't fucking get inflicted on the world. Marx was completely disconnected from reality. He had no understanding of how humans actually function. For you to go ahead and actually try to make his shit make sense, you have to ignore just about everything about human nature. Everyone would have to run counterintuitive to their best interests. All right, good job, Liam. There, because the thing is I don't like to typically paint with broad brush strokes unless I'm being hyperbolic on purpose for either ironic purpose or anything like that. But yeah, no. I will agree that there have been some people from every fucking culture that have caused a lot of fucking problems. But also at the same time, the stereotype of the, Jewish mother guilt trip. Take a look at Marx. Take a look at how he says that people should go ahead and go about making change. Now compare it to the Jewish mother stereotype. Just saying. And no, I am not anti-Jew. In fact, I believe that Israel's getting a really bad fucking rap right now, and quite frankly, I'm glad that Trump is siding with them in this, because in all honesty, at this point, Israel's in the right as far as them wanting to have their secure borders and maybe not take missiles up the ass every single day. Just saying. Gotta be fair. Not saying that Israel's perfect, but also at the same time, they don't need to, they don't deserve to be getting hit with missiles every fucking day, or suicide bombers, or both, or suicide bombers riding missiles. As funny as that image is, well, Donald, I'm actually considered an anti-feminist myself, because I hate feminism. I despise it with a fucking passion. And I call it out on bullshit all the time. I'm actually considered an anti-feminist, but the thing is I bring up the damage that feminism has caused. I'm not saying that they're the cause of all the issues that we have. I'm just saying that they are definitely the cause of some of the major issues that we have. Oh, Turbattle has a pretty good point there. They say mgtow is weaponized bachelorhood. Feminism is the aggregate of female bullying tactics implemented on a large scale. That's actually very true, and that's something I kind of want to unpack as well. Oh, that's a pretty good subject in and of itself. Let's see. MGTOW Warrior says, when I was a kid, an unwed mother, adult or minor, couldn't get welfare. Then they changed that, and I remember the unwed mother numbers skyrocketed in just a few years, and it hasn't stopped going up. Well, yeah, because the thing is, at that point, they're replacing a husband figure with the state. And so these women become dependent on the state, and so they're going to be less willing to speak out against the state because, don't bite the hand that feeds you, all that bullshit. The female CEO of YouTube is bad. Just gonna go out and say that she has some very prominent mental flaws. But also at the same time, it's one of those things. It's not just the CEO of YouTube that's allowing all this shit to happen. If you go ahead and you take a look at the CEO of Google, well, there you go. And, you know, people try to sit there and say anytime that someone criticizes the head of Google that those people are just jealous and so on and so forth. Why would they be jealous of him? Why be jealous of someone being a pussy whipped, weak willed, weak minded, narrow sighted pile of shit? Why would anyone be jealous of that? I mean, I could see someone being jealous of the amount of money that he's stuffing into his pockets, but that's about it. Yeah, very, very true, Donald. The state is the husband, but quote unquote, where have all the good men gone? Yeah, fuck my life, right? It pisses me the fuck off. I'm all like, that's the reason why I hate when women sit there and say, where have all the good men gone? It sets me the fuck off. I guess that's my trigger. If I'm going to use leftist terminology, I guess it triggers me. I'm like, really? You have the sheer unmitigated gall to ask where all the good men have gone? Have you taken a look at how women treat men in society today? Have you looked at how society in general treats men? It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. That's like sitting there walking up and punching someone in the face every single day and then getting upset at when one day when you come walking in the fucking room for the first time in the day, they flinch. It's like, really? You're going to get mad at them for fucking reacting to that level of fucking abuse? Are you fucking serious? Hell, I love the fact that there are guys that are now starting to override their programming to protect women and getting to the point where they're literally starting to see women the same as men. Woman throws a punch at them and then they knock the bitch to the fucking dirt. I'm loving seeing that. See, that's the return of men. Right there. They sit there and they try to say, oh, well, a real man doesn't hit a woman. Bull the fuck shit. A real man is going to stand up to anyone that is posing a physical threat to him, regardless of what they are. That's a real man. They're not just going to stand there and take it and say, oh, well, I would fight back, but social pressure. Fuck that. No. Real men don't cave to social pressure. That's what a beta does. That's what a little boy does. A man will sit there, look at someone pulling that shit, and just flip them the fucking bird and stand there defiantly. Hence mgtow. One woman actually had the audacity to ask me, where have all the good men gone? I just looked at her. I'm all like, look for guys with shirts with a split road sign on it. That's where the good men have gone. They've gone their own way because it's no longer worth traveling the path with you. Oh, yeah, that's a really unpopular thing to say. But guess what? It's the truth. mgtow is the response. mgtow is the natural conclusion of this attempt at forcibly feminizing men. Oh, yeah, men used to dream of having a family. Now you know what men dream of? Avoiding it. Like the plague. Welcome to the stream, sir. But yeah, women don't understand that you can only push men so far before men finally go, you know what? Fuck it. I'm out. Peace. Doses. Because the thing is women have a really hard time conceiving of this thing called self-reliance, where men can separate themselves from society and be fine. It's really hard for them to conceive of that because women tend to be more socially and emotionally based. So they don't get it. And so now women are sitting there and going, well, we just want some real men. Yeah, well, guess what? Real men don't want you. Because real men don't want to commit suicide. Just saying. They're not wanting to give up all of their freedoms by signing one fucking piece of paper. Now, someone can sit there and crack a joke about someone going into the armed forces, you know, since at that point you become government property. And you do lose a lot of freedoms at that point while you're serving. Fair enough. But the thing is they're doing it for a payoff. Because they want to go ahead and protect our rights, our ability to actually have some level of freedom. That's the reason why I respect the armed forces so much. Well, except for the women that actually take the bullshit get out clause of, oh, we're going to go ahead and cut the barrier to entry down in half so that way women can fucking get in. Nah, fuck that. You see, the thing is reality isn't going to do that for you. Why in the fuck would we take our testing credentials and lower them for women? Reality doesn't give a fuck if you're a woman or a man. The enemy's not going to care if you're a woman or a man. They'll go ahead and capture you, and then they'll fuck you in the pussy. And they'll laugh about it. They'll sit there while they're doing that and say, oh, look at the little girl playing soldier. Now, there are some women out there that do fucking kick ass and do belong in the fucking military. I've met more than a couple. They were actually able to meet that male standard to get in. Fair enough. But those women also refused to take a handout. And guess what? Almost every one of those women was raised by a single father, where the mother ran out. You know, the thing that people don't like to talk about. When a woman abandons her fucking family, even though it happens quite the fuck often. But no, they're going to sit there and say, oh, it's only men that abandon their families. No, fuck you. No. Women do that shit just as much as men. Women are just as afraid of commitment as men. Everyone's afraid of commitment because the thing is that means you're making an irreparable choice. That means you're making a life-changing decision right there. Something that you can't just walk away from. Well, unfortunately, women can walk away from it and get away scot-fucking-free in most cases. And in most cases, guess what? They can profit from it. Yeah, perfect example. The New York Fire Department dropping standards. They're going to get people killed with that shit. Their political correct bullshit just put people's lives at risk. Oh, very true. Donald says men commit to women, women commit to money. That actually, I'm not in full agreement with that. I'm going to make one correction. Men commit to an idea of a woman. The reason why I have to say that is because nowadays there are very few real women left. Oh, well, you see, the thing is, sir, I shatter people because when I get upset, you can ask anyone who's been around my channel for any amount of time whatsoever. If you're new here, oh yeah, I'm not afraid to raise my voice when I'm angry. Why? Because the thing is I kept getting told by women that I need to show my emotions more. All right, I'll show my anger. There you go. Oh, you don't like that? Oh, well, anger is an emotion. Oh, I'm only supposed to show my positive emotions, right? Right? I'm not supposed to show that guys can have a negative emotion. Fuck you. To anyone who sits there and has that idea, fuck you. Like I said in my previous stream, men have just recently started being viewed as human. And guess what? Being human means you have emotion. I'm not going to hide my humanity anymore. That is just how this is going to work out. If people want me to hide my humanity, well, then they need to hide theirs. Because I am sick and I am tired of only one side getting to be human, while the other side is held to an unmeasurable standard. And I mean that quite literally. Because the thing is even if a man sits there and he makes all the changes that a woman fucking wants, which is a bad idea, I'm just going to let you know right now. But even if a man makes all the changes that a woman wants, it's still never enough. Women don't even fucking know how much change is enough. Well, I have the answer for you. No change. That's what's needed. If a woman wants to be with a man, she needs to be with him for him. Stop looking at him as a utility. Stop looking at him as something that's broken that needs to be fixed. If you can't accept someone for what they are and who they are, then you don't deserve to be in their life. That's just my view of it, though. And if someone tells you to get the fuck away from them, get the fuck away from them. Don't sit there and say, oh, you're being some ist or you're practicing some ism because you don't want to hang out with me or because you don't want to fuck me. No, 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 no. That just means they don't want anything to do with you. And that's perfectly fine. And if you're one of the people that sits there and bitches like that, guess what? They were completely valid in it. They made a right choice. Because quite frankly, I don't think anyone should want anything to do with people that act that way. If you feel entitled to making people have to like you or have to accept you, then you are not legitimate. You're fake. Just like that episode of fucking Twilight Zone where all the people are at the whims of a fucking little kid that has psychic powers. And he'll send them out into an endless cornfield where they rot and die if they do something that he doesn't like. That's what leftism is at this point. That's what being a progressive means. You are that spoiled little pile of shit brat. And if you don't know what episode I'm talking about, go ahead and look up Twilight Zone Cornfield. Watch it, live it, learn it, love it. Because that's the reality we're in right now. Oh, if you're talking about the whole hashtag men so fragile thing that feminists started fucking spewing out, that was them just trying to sit there and shame men into capitulating. They were trying to say that men standing up for their own rights is somehow inherently wrong. It's not wrong to stand up for your rights. It's not wrong for standing up and saying, hey, I'm human too. You know, maybe stop treating me like a workhorse. Maybe stop treating me like I'm subhuman. Maybe hold me to the same standards as everyone else. And in this case, women must vastly lower their standards of men, if we're going to be fair. Because women are not held to the same standard as men. They are held to a much lower standard. They are given praise for accolades that's considered part and parcel of being a man. And this is done by feminists. So even feminists look at women as lesser than men. I say, how about this? One universal standard. The cream of the crop will rise to the top. The shit will sink to the bottom. Fair. Holy Blade says, I am not a donkey. Yeah, same here. I mean, if you look at my dick, you might think I'm a donkey, but that's about where the similarity ends. But it amazes me at how many people think that having different standards for different people based off of what they are is somehow equality. Is somehow fair. It makes no sense. The only way to have any level of equality is to hold everyone to the same standard. Obviously, you're going to have some variance there based off of economic background, educational background, whatever, whatnot. You're going to have those small variances. But don't make blanket statements. Don't sit there and say, oh, this group is less capable than this group, unless you have scientific evidence of what you're saying. And even then, be careful. Like, I'm one of those people. I acknowledge that, yeah, guys tend to, pound for pound, be stronger than women when it comes to the averages. I mean, if you compare the weakest man to the strongest woman, yeah, the woman's going to be significantly stronger. But if you compare an average man to the strongest woman, well, now all of a sudden there's not that much of a difference. And there's a reason why we have a separation of the Olympics. Because if women were to compete in the same Olympics as men, guess what? Not going to end too well for the women. It'd be only men getting medals, and then people would be yelling sexism. And you're right, Holy Blade, they do use minorities as shields. And that is absolutely fucking horrible. And then they say we shouldn't objectify people. While they themselves are objectifying people. They are judging people based off of what they are. They are denying that those people's humanity. Every person is very, very capable of being greater than the sum of their parts. They're able of going well past their ethnic background. They're always capable of elevating themselves to that level as long as they have the drive. But where does that drive come from? Oh, yes, from competition, from knowing that you're on a level playing field. However, if you think that you're not on a level playing field, it's very easy to go to the why should I even try? And that's either way. If you think you got the high ground, you're going to sit there and say, oh, well, why should I even try to better myself? I'm already so far ahead. If you're on the bottom rung of the totem pole, you're going to be like, why should I even try? No matter how much effort I put in, I'm never going to fucking get up to that. I'm already that many rungs into the shit pit. So it hurts both ends of the spectrum. And it hurts us all as a society. Because the thing is as soon as we stop moving forward, we're going to start slipping backward. And the thing is right now, these so-called progressives have brought a massive brick wall in front of us and have stopped our forward movement. So guess what? That means we're slipping backward. Hence people sitting there and wanting segregation again. People sitting there and trying to say that some people of particular races are not actually human. People saying that people of specific demographic groups are inferior just because of the demographic group that they come from. We are slipping backwards. I even saw someone post and legitimately fucking post it that, and they said, well, slavery didn't kill blacks in America, right? So it's not going to kill white people. Why don't we just go ahead and do that? I saw someone legitimately fucking post that. Someone's actually arguing for slavery based off of race. And if that doesn't sadden you guys, I don't know what will. It definitely saddens me. It enrages me, but it also saddens me. I thought we've moved past that. Well, then, Holy Blade, we've already failed because there's already places implementing segregation on college campuses, where people go to learn how to interact with society. Yeah. Because the fact of the matter is this is actually happening. And people think that they're in the right for doing so. And the thing that pisses me off the most about a lot of these arguments that these progressive so-called liberals are making are arguments that boil down to the sins of the father are passed to the sins of the son. Oh, well, at one point in history, white people did this. That means all white people have to be held accountable for it now. Did any of us that living now have anything to do with that? No. Was it our choice that that happened? No. Are we agreeing that it should have happened? No. Then why should we be punished for it? Just saying. I mean, if we're going to be doing the whole passing down the sins of the father to the son, well, then guess what? Every African American is guilty of selling slaves. Because the thing is it was people in Africa. It was the blacks in Africa enslaving other blacks and selling them to people. In fact, it still happens. That double-edged sword really fucking sucks because it does cut both ways. But the thing is we need to bring back meritocracy. Because meritocracy is the equalizer when it comes to being viewed as equal, at least in the workforce and all that sort of thing, you know, as far as accolades are concerned. At no point should any company ever be forced to hire someone based off of what they are. The reason why I say that is because as soon as you start doing that, even if the person is excellent at the job, even if they're brilliant at the job, there's always going to be that question of whether or not they were actually hired for being good at the job or if they just got the position because of what they are. And so it taints any accolades that they have. It lessens any achievement that someone makes that falls into that. Oh, if we're going to go ahead and we're going to go with schooling, when I was going in for network security, we literally only had one female in our class out of 35 at my college. In the entire program at that point, we only had 7 women out of hundreds. There were entire classes that were strictly guys. Funny thing is our teacher was a woman and she was brilliant at the job. But the thing is women just weren't interested. She actually even addressed it in there because we were talking about social engineering. And she even addressed it. She's all like, there are just some things that women are interested in that men aren't interested in. And the vice versa is true. She's all, and she even pointed to the class. She's all like, look around. Women tend to be less interested in learning how technology works as opposed to learning what it can do for them. Oh yeah, that teacher was not popular out at that college, but she was one of the best teachers out there. Her lessons stuck because they were based in reality. You didn't have to think in strictly abstract terms. You didn't have to deny the reality that you saw around you to understand what that teacher was saying. Yet if you were to go to some gender studies course, there's a lot of suspension of disbelief that happens there. Or else you get kicked out of class. But also in the area where I live in, men and women are more based off of meritocracy. You know, what you do. How good are you at it? What are your accomplishments? Not, do you have a pussy? Do you have a dick? I mean, yeah, we have sexist on both sides. in our area, but they are in the vast minority. Most people around here, yeah. They don't care if you're a man or a woman. Can you do the job? That's the big question. But that's also coming from a working class society. The people that I tend to bitch about actually come from what's called upper middle class. You know, the kids that get a trust from fun from mommy and daddy. So even if they fail at life, they still got something to fall back on. The ones that have never had to work a day in their life. So they think them getting a job as a barista is somehow hyper important. And those very same people tend to be very easily programmed because they've never actually had to come up with a thought on their own. They're used to just accepting programming, errors and all. However, working class, we have to figure shit out on our own. We have to adapt to our surroundings. We have to adapt to ever-changing situations. Unexpected little fuck yous that happen as a part of life. We have to learn to get around that in creative ways at some points. And the thing is the working class does make up the vast majority of the country. So why do we hear so much from people that have yet to even experience life? Why is so much credence given to them? Well, it comes down to the media. They give those people the voice. They only listen to them. They think that if you're working class, you're uneducated and therefore your opinion is invalid because you are somehow lesser. Because you don't have a piece of paper saying, oh, he English is good. Or she knows feelings because she studied them. The thing is college degrees now aren't serving the purpose that they used to. They used to serve a purpose of showing that you now possess at least the basic skills for the field that you're going into. But now they're being viewed as permission slips to have the right to have your opinion to be heard. So when they say liberal elites, when they're talking about the media, they're not saying that those people are elite. They're actually saying that those people are elitist. That they think unless you have that little permission slip from an overpriced school, you are not allowed to have a valid opinion. Like, I've had a lot of people tell me that I'm smart. I make a lot of sense on this channel. That even if they somewhat disagree with me, they understand where I'm coming from. People say that I would make an excellent teacher. Well, will it surprise you when I tell you that I don't have a single fucking degree? Not one. I've gone to classes. I've learned information. I like to learn information. I love to absorb it. But I also like to apply it. But I do not have that permission slip that these liberal elitists prize so damn much. So they're not willing to listen to me. And if they do listen to me, they're listening for an I gotcha moment. They're listening for that one little soundbite that they can take out of context. They're not listening to what I'm saying. They're listening to how I'm saying it, and they're listening for something that they can use as ammunition, because they have no ammunition of their own. One moment. Be right back. Sorry about that. Minor family emergency. Real life happens. But like I was saying, I don't have that permission slip. They're listening for ammunition. And why is that? Because they can't create their own. Because their ideas are at best impotent. That tends to happen though, when your ideas are not based in reality. So there's really no way of getting past it. At this point, we have a dual class system. Either you're one of the elitists or you're plebeian. I mean, that's pretty much what it's boiled down to with these people. And that really sucks, because when you go ahead and you have something like that, you're not going to have a real good discussion. If you view the other side as lesser, as unworthy, then you'll never truly understand what they're saying. You'll never truly understand where they're coming from. And that just means that you are denying yourself any opportunity for any true growth. That's very true, Tier. Elitists push for crazy social reforms they don't even live by. That's very, very true. It's funny, the elites sit there and say, oh, you have to follow the law. Oh, you have to do this. Oh, you have to do that. And then when you actually take a look at these elites, they're not doing that. They're constantly breaking the law. They're constantly doing the shit that they're condemning you for. Like if they sit there and they condemn you for being racist, all of a sudden a lawsuit comes up claiming that they have racist hiring and promotion practices in their business. I mean, it just over and over and over again. I just want to know, do these people ever get tired of being wrong? I mean, honestly, do they ever get tired of being wrong? Because it really doesn't seem like it. And that's a very good point. Elites get married, go to church, go to private school, enjoy capitalism and then say that capitalism is absolute shit and push for socialism and or communism, saying that capitalism never works for anyone. And then they go home to their little mini mansion in their Mercedes Benz, stopping by to talk to their security guard that they're paying hourly, so he can go ahead and deactivate their $4 million home security system. And then they sit there and they say that no one should feel unsafe, and therefore they should have no reason to want to own a gun for home defense when they have armed guards. Like when Obama was sitting there and saying guns are completely unnecessary for self-defense, and then has several secret agents around him and his family at all times, armed to the fucking teeth. Really? And let's go ahead and let's get on to homes. Let's get off of this super serious subject. This stream was meant to be more of a goofy stream. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk about what my dream house is. Trust me, somewhat different. I would actually like the vast majority of my house to be underground. And when I say the vast majority, I'm talking about all of it. And the reason why I would want that is for several reasons. One, when you've got a house that's underground, the temperature tends to not fluctuate that much. Even if the ambient temperature outside, goes up and down drastically, you tend to not get hit that hard with it. So during the winter, it doesn't get butt-ass cold. And then during the summer, it doesn't get to, oh my God, I don't think my balls can sag any lower hot. At that point, the only thing you got to worry about is humidity. At which point, there's this magical thing called dehumidifiers. Hell yeah. Oh, damn, Holy Blade. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, divorces fucking suck. Yeah, apparently Holy Blade's family owned several houses, and half of them ended up getting sold off because of some bullshit divorce. That sucks, bro. That really fucking sucks. But anywho, back onto my little perfect dream house. Another reason why I want it to be underground is it's really hard to spy on someone when they're underground. I mean, yeah, I know the government can still spy through my technology, like my phone and all that sort of shit. I get that. All right, whatever. But they're going to do it anyway. If they want to see my donkey dick, they can go ahead and do it. Whatever. Whatever floats your boat. But at the same fucking time, prying eyes from the outside, very, very difficult. The only way they can get in is through that technology thing. Another reason, extremely easy to defend. Because that means you're going to have only a few set paths in, only a few set paths out. One of the issues that is brought up, though, is sunlight gets rid of a few common molds and mildews that are actually very harmful to people. Well, that's called UV lighting. And if you set it up properly, you can actually have it where your ceiling looks like a sky while it's putting out that UV light, same as sunlight would be. So it's going to get rid of all that bacteria. You got a very well lit home. Good to go. Except you can go ahead and dim it anytime you want. Oh, Warbird, you're a smart ass. As far as the floods are concerned, at that point, all you have to do is have a locking mechanism for the entryways that are waterproof. And if you have the food and, funnily enough, water to go ahead, you could stay underneath there and treat it as a bunker for a few months, as well as having some sort of oxygen supply, obviously. Earthquakes, not much you can do about that, but I mean, surface buildings have that weakness too. Fires, again, surface buildings have that weakness too. But as far as natural disasters are concerned, I figure it this way: if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. God's gonna fucking call me home. I could be walking through Walmart parking lot, and a bird that took one BB to the heart and it's been slowly bleeding out as it's been flying can fall out of the sky, hit me in the head, crack my skull, and me die. All right? If it's my time to go, it's my time to go. If something like that's going to happen, it's going to happen. Nothing I do is going to change that. And I do agree with you, Turbattle. The traditional family model is dying, and women are the ones killing it because of either they're in action or they're active trying to kill off the family unit. There are some women that are just being inactive about it, and then there are some that are just actively trying to destroy it. Guys aren't exactly helping by sitting there and saying, yeah, you know what, fuck you. You want to destroy this, go for it. Have fun. But at the same time, it's all like it was a losing thing for us to begin with, so why in the fuck are we going to defend it? It's up to women. They benefit the most from it. But as far as my little dream house is concerned, I mean, at that point, I can go ahead. I can make myself a nice gaming room, all that sort of thing. I don't have to worry about ambient light hitting a screen the wrong way, all that sort of thing. I can go ahead, have all the shit I want, make all the noise I want because it's going to be muffled. If someone like Carly comes over, I'm good to go. Wish Carly was here. She would have jumped all over that. But yeah, it's one of those scenarios now of me wanting that house is because also at the same time, if people are looking and it just looks like an empty lot, what's the worst I'm going to have? I'm going to have a few squatters. And then I come out and it's going to scare the fuck out of them. Some guy just popping out of the fucking ground. Yeah. It's going to scare the living shit out of them. But people aren't going to be all that interested in stealing from me because they're not going to know that anything's there to steal. So I figure it this way. It's a very effective thing for me. But I mean, for me, it's basically at that point, it's really easy for me to stay thermally centered. Not have to deal with those extreme temperatures because the area that I live in right now, we have massive temperature variation. Like during the summers, we get up to 115 or higher degrees during the summer. And then during the winter, we get down well below freezing. And so, Yeah, that's a thing. So avoiding those massive temperature fluctuations without having to rely on AC too much, it's a big energy savings. It's one of those houses, it at least takes care of that one aspect of the elements. The only thing that you have to really take into account is getting airflow. That's it. Which running a few basic fans at that point to get the airflow, much, much cheaper than running AC. Oh, and Turbattle, as far as the whole war on male groups like Harvard finals clubs, yeah, no, if they can ban those things, they're going to be able to ban freedom of association anywhere. But that's one of the things that they want. They don't want people to be able to gather and associate unless it's sanctioned by their shit, you know, by their own fucking Ministry of Truth. But the thing is when it comes to women attacking male spaces, well, that's been a thing for a long time. I mean, hell, you have some bitches that are stupid enough to sit there and say that strip clubs that are geared towards men, you know, where it's women getting naked and jiggling all over the fucking place, they'll say that that's wrong. But then when you sit there and go, all right, well, what about strip clubs geared towards women where guys do the same fucking thing? And most of the time, even more. They sit there and go, oh, well, that's perfectly fine because that's not a sexual thing. What? Are you fucking kidding me? Yes, women actually tried to make that fucking argument. There's some women that are honest about it and they're like, oh, no, that's all about the sex. Oh, yeah, no, that's all about getting the jollies. But there's a lot of women that are sitting there and trying to say that strip clubs geared towards women aren't sexual in nature. It's all like, well, then why are you spending the money to go there instead of just going to like a bar or something? What is the draw? And then all of a sudden, dead fucking silence. Either that or they bring out the whole, well, it's not my job to educate you, or I don't have to explain myself to you. Fuck you. Seriously, fuck you. But when women go ahead and try to make that fucking argument, I'm like, you know, it's all like I'm starting to kind of see where some of these hardline mgtows are coming from, where they say it's a waste of fucking time to talk. Oh, and Mexican, I'm not Mexican, sorry, MGTOW Warrior. Yes, I have to agree with that. And guess what? My ex was one of those women. The mother of my daughter is one of those women that tries to make that fucking argument. No one has bought it. Not even her sister. Her sister heard her fucking say that, or heard that she said that, and she was all like, "Oh, that is fucking stupid." Well, here's the thing, Holy Blade. At male strip clubs, you know, not the ones that cater to men, the ones that cater to women. But the thing is, all right, Warrior, that's the reason why they're exes. Let's just leave it at that, right? But the thing is at a strip club that's geared towards males, you have the hands down rule, you know, no touchy, right? But at the strip clubs that are geared towards women, the women are allowed to paw, claw, grab, all that sort of fucking shit. They don't have those same fucking rules. So the thing is when women sit there and say, oh, it's not about sexuality, it's like, well, then why are you fucking pawing this guy constantly? Like you're just trying to get him to fucking pounce. But it's just one of those things where it's all like, it's so ludicrous on its face that, you know, whenever a fucking woman says that, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I am not taking you seriously in anything that you say anymore. Because you've just shown me that you have some level of fucking brain damage that does not allow you to have accurate, reflective of reality, cognitive thought. And that's a nice, relatively scientific way of saying, you're a fucking psychopath. Get the fuck away from me. Don't talk to me. But I absolutely fucking hate that hypocrisy. And and right there is another example of women sitting there and trying to say that male sexuality is bad, even if it's more restrained, and female sexuality can't be bad, even if it's completely unrestrained. It's another issue I have with the feminist type women. It's like they're trying to sit there and say that only women are allowed to fucking have sexuality. But then they bitch about the herbivore men movement who have sat there and said, you know what? I'm not interested in sex. They sit there and say, oh, well, those aren't real men. It's all like, all right, well, you're saying that male sexuality is bad. Then when some males actually get rid of said sexuality, then you want to fucking destroy them. So does that mean you like things that are bad? You know, I mean, that's pretty much the only question I can ask at that point. It's all like, don't sit there and say that men have to have something while simultaneously complaining that when they have that thing, it's bad. I think women have started vastly overestimating their sexual power. I think they've vastly overestimated it. Because when you sit there and you try to say that you are the one who dictates when someone can or cannot have sexuality, that's authoritarian to such a fucking narcissistic degree that there's no defending it. And so it really fucking pisses me off. And again, it's just one more way of denying male humanity. It's just showing that they really don't view us as actual living sentient creatures, that we're nothing but machines there for their fucking amusement. And actually, I have to disagree with you there, Terra Battle, because without leveraging sex or baby making, they're not essentially men. They don't have the drive of men. They don't have the tenacity of men. And contrary to public opinion, they just don't have the same skill sets as men, broadly speaking. Even without leveraging baby making and sex, they still don't equate to men. And if you are equating them to men, then in the natural order of things, they would be the first ones to go. Because if you are going to equate them to men, they're at the very best, going to get midway up the totem pole. That's not me being sexist. That's not me being chauvinistic. That's just me addressing the truth. Because when you have a group of women, and we've had several examples of this, several experiments have been done, where when women are put out on their own, no men around, and a group, and an equal number of men are put into a group, shit gets done. At least on the men's side. But when it comes to the women, it comes down to in-bickering. Not a whole lot gets done. They might go ahead and get the basics down, but they never advance really past that. Whereas with men tend to thrive in that scenario. I can't change that. All I can do is point it out. Now, if women want to go ahead and try to change that, try to change their basic way of thinking, then they're going to have to change their way of educating themselves. And if they're going to go ahead and change the way of educating themselves, well, how about this? First lesson, men are human too. Men's feelings are just as important as women's feelings. How about that? I think that's a pretty good lesson to have. And it's a lesson that needs to be specifically taught. Oh, no, I'll do this right here. Men are the typical breadwinners because they tend to win more bread. And men outperform women constantly in the same job. Hence the reason why later on in life, after they've proven that they are more reliable, they get paid more because they put in more time. But men very often outperform women because men can take constructive criticism and turn it to a force for good instead of whining to someone that someone's being mean. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to end the stream here because I'm going to kind of start going around in circles again. And I know no one wants to fucking hear that. So thank you, everyone who came to the stream. I always appreciate it. Oh, and tier battle. No, men do outperform women in tech, sports, finance and entrepreneurship. Why? Because of the studies, the percentages, the actual hard, cold numbers. So I am allowed to say that. It's just people don't want me to say it. But there's a lot of things that I do that people don't want me to do. I smoke cigarettes. People don't want me to smoke cigarettes. I say fuck off. I'm going to go ahead and double lung this shit just to spite you. Yeah, I think it's funny. Men pay 70% of all taxes, and women make up 80% of consumer spending, yet women bitch about men making a whole lot of money. It's like, guess what? If men didn't make that fucking money, guess who would be paying that taxes? Guess who wouldn't have as much to spend on consumer shit? Just saying. But have yourselves a good one. Again, thanks everyone for coming. Thanks for contributing to the conversation. As always, have yourselves a great day, and I'll talk to y'all later.